Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. After what has been 12 rounds of racing, we have arrived and it is time for the season finale of the UKSimRacing Porsche Cup Season 9, as brought to you on the premier sim racing platform available only on PC, known as iRacing. That's right, folks, we have arrived at our final destination, and for round 13 of 13, we have made our way to Australia and in the suburbs of the city of Sydney for the one and only once racing circuit and now housing the state, but we've gone back to prior to 2010 when it's demolished, and of course it is the Oran Raceway. Located in the Sydney suburb of Narellan, this is a circuit like no other when it comes to being one of the premier circuits of Australian domestic racing, and played host over its history to likes of various Supercar Championship and Australian Touring Car Championship. It is a short but aggressive circuit, spanning only a length of 1.62 miles. Our drivers take to its Grand Prix full course layout today. They're going to be taking on a variety of 12 corners that are just as relentless with regards to apex speed and also their variety as they are with regards to the sudden and aggressive elevation changes which absolutely dominate the lap. Add to this as well, as you may notice in the background, the Oklahoma Bridge which runs over the circuit and indeed leads to the circuit, and a figure of 8 layout which will see our drivers run back over the course and indeed make the way through those elevation changes like thunder. And it does mean for our drivers today it's all going to be about keeping a cool head in order to achieve consistency and come away out on top. And coming our way on out on top is important today because of course it is the season finale and we still have 2 championships out of our 3 to conclude, with the results still being wide open, albeit one of them has closed, but we still need to consider our runners up in the championships just as well as our title champions. But all that and more will shortly explain. But as we get ready to go racing today, we welcome you all to this live broadcast from Circuit Side, available on both of the UKSimRacing official media platforms. And firstly, you could be tuning in via YouTube if you go to youtube.com and search your UKSimRacing or UKSR. And welcome to you guys and girls tuning in via YouTube, and I hope you're all doing well. But let's not forget you guys and girls on the other alternative media platform, and that of course is Twitch, twitch.tv/UKSimRacing. And well, hello to you guys and girls tuning in via Twitch, and I hope you're also having a great day. And if you're not, if you've got a bit of a frown on your face, well, hopefully some fantastic racing today will turn that frown upside down this season finale. And it's all being brought to you by myself in the commentary booth. Well, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Paul Walsh, also known as TX141 or Britain the Spit, depending on what media you follow me on. And I'll be bringing you all of your racing action tonight as we bring the curtain down. And well, let's give you a recap of that championship calendar that we've made our way through. Indeed, it makes me a little bit emotional to think that we have roared our way all the way through the calendar and we are at our season finale. It never feels real when we made it to a season finale, but here we are, and we started off all the way back on the 21st of December 2023 in the Netherlands at the Circuit Zandvoort circuit, having recently been revamped on the iRacing simulator platform to account for the increased cambering of a number of its turns. While our drivers kicked off the season with a bang in our own endurance race opener, and we got to see in our first round of the season brilliant batting up and down the field and shocks aplenty at the front of the field, with both champions what was Thomas Cope and also Philipp Hammer in the gold class both having a difficult day of racing, and meanwhile it go the way of what would be their teammates and their respective teams. And in the end we got to see what was Mario Good take the win for Impulse Racing, head of Daniel Sedgley for Olympus Esports. In rounds 2 and 3 at Motorland Aragon, we saw our first heat and feature combination round on the 28th of December, and under the Spanish sun at Motorland Aragon we got to see some brilliant batting at the front of the field as we always do. But let's not forget our silver class and the arrival on the scene of the Norwegian driver of Matt Strand, who started to announce his way as an early favourite, albeit from the close contest of Paul Halliday. Then in rounds 4 and 5 we continued the heat and feature combination, but we made our way a little bit further eastwards into Central Europe for the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, and on the 4th of January 2024 we kicked off 2024 with an absolute classic pair of races. And then again in the silver class we got to see Matt Strand continue to lead the way, with Paul Halliday trying to keep him honest as best as possible. And meanwhile in the gold class we got to see quite a bit of rubbing and racing between the likes of Olympus Esports and Impulse Racing. But let's not also forget as well the arrival of good other drivers on the scene, including James Parker, the returning gold champion, racing under the privateer banner. And in round number 6 for our second endurance race round of the season, we made our way to USA for the first and only time for the season, and the American state of Florida placed host with the Sebring International Raceway. And there, over the bumps and scrapes of the concrete slabs of the old airfield, we got to see our drivers on the 11th of January 2024 go to and fro, and at the front of the field it was the three-way fight between Thomas Cope, Daniel Sedgley and Philipp Hammer after Mario Good's mid-race retirement. An unfortunate error at turn 1 put him out of contention for the win, and in the end it would be Thomas Cope who'd find a way to lead it on home in what was a hotly contested race. Then we had our mid-season break week, and well, what a break week it was to go into for Fusion Racing, and recently changed the name from UKSimRacing, and they did incredibly well at Sebring International Raceway. And when we returned for round 7 and 8 at the Autodromo International Enzo Edina Ferrari, well, we got to see the team do well in Italy on the 25th of January 2024. But again, in the silver class, it was the story of Matt Strand up front, and in the gold class, well, goodness me, Emil Koopmans almost managed to bring home his first win of the season, but it wasn't quite to be. Then in round number 9, we made our way into the time machine and went back to the year of 2008 for the Silverstone Legacy Grand Prix circuit. On the 1st of January, we kicked off the second month of 2024 in absolute style with some brilliant racing all up and down the field on the fast layout of the Silverstone circuit compared to what it is today. And then we made our way into our second mid-season break week. But when we returned, we then made our way to round number 10, and we made our way to Germany for the one and only Nürburgring combined. The Gesamtstrecke Long Circuit played host on drives on the 15th of February for a 1-hour special endurance round, and well, we got to see many of our drivers take the test head on. And in the silver class, it was Matt Strand who led the way, and in the gold class, it was a cat and mouse chase between Thomas Cope and Philipp Hammer. But in the end, the mouse of what's Thomas Cope managed to avoid the cat-like charge and reflexes of Philipp Hammer in order to take the win. Then last time out a week ago on the 22nd of February, we made our way back to United Kingdom, albeit in the present for the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. And well, rounds 11 and 12 were definitely full of drama, and in the silver class, Matt Strand having a difficult day of racing, but still wasn't too difficult for him to see the title not go into his hands, as we'll show you very shortly. And in the gold class, meanwhile, it means that we are on the precipice now, and with a three-way fight for the championship title, with Philipp Hammer holding a slender lead, with the results going the way they did. But at the same time as well, we also got to see what was a bit of drama with regards to the rise of the Olympus esports team, with Thomas Cope not quite able to bring home the double win he wanted, and as a result, therefore, falling a bit further behind. But we're here today on the 29th of February. It's a leap year, and well, we are down under in Australia at the Oran Park Raceway circuit for round 13 of 13, and let's give you a recap of those championship standings there. And as we can see, starting with the Gold Drivers' Championship, it is Philipp Hammer who is on the verge of history. He's currently a 3-time Gold Class champion. After today, he could be our first ever 4-time champion. Indeed, he's showing a little bit of Michael Schumacher within him right now. Indeed, a famous German driver in real life, taking 7 Formula 1 titles. And well, Philipp Hammer could be on course to taking his 4th today. And well, what a story that would be for Impulse Racing. However, the test is that he holds an 8-point advantage over Olympus esports' Daniel Sedgley, the main man who's kept him running all season in terms of their battle. And the consistency between these two drivers has been absolutely invaluable. But it is the greater number of wins from Hammer versus Sedgley that has made the difference. Thomas Cope, meanwhile, sits a further 8 points behind, 16 off the leader, and the Olympus esports driver there would be contesting the win today, but unfortunately he's not going to be on the grid due to personal circumstances. And well, what a time not to be able to make it on the grid for the freeway fight, and indeed it now becomes a 2-horse race. But still, we can tell you that Thomas Cope is all okay. He's just not able to make tonight's race due to personal circumstances, and we do wish him well. And Thomas, if you are tuning in, I hope you're having a great evening. But as Luke Andrews sits in P4 in the hunt for best of rest for Cube Control's Reparto course, well, right now he is what is the best part of 32 points clear of James Parker, the Private 2, completes your top 5, and it looks so Andrews could be taking that P4 today, with Corey Lazarus P6 and 137 points, 1 point ahead of Mario Vilga for Impulse Racing. And with the Blackout OPR driver, of course, having a huge points injection after what results at Brands Hatch last week, and also his win at Silverstone. Mario Vilga, who we haven't seen on the grid for a couple of rounds now, he sits currently in P7. I don't believe we're expecting the Impulse Racing drivers to be back on the grid today, and that's going to change the formation of the team's championship, as we'll talk about shortly. But he's got a 5-point advantage over the WS Racing esports driver Marcel Fridge, who may not be the fastest driver out there, but you can always rely on the Austrian driver to give it his all. Matt Acton for the Sim Racing Collective and Ryan Walker for Satellite Racing complete your top 10, and the delta there from P6 of Lazarus through to its Walker in P10 only being a margin of 9 points. And who will be our 6th place finisher at the end of the day? That is a big question we need to answer today, with Emil Koopmans P11 for Effect Simulations and 112 points, and well, you can be sure that he's going to be looking to try and break back into the top 10 today, if not try and take the 6th place as well. And a Forsten Svet for Griffin Motorsport, Leon's 8 Tech Racing, and Frida Sports Fabian Sitter, who completes the championship standings. But then we come to the silver class, and here the complexion's a bit different. Now, after the results were finalised at Brands Hatch, we couldn't announce it on the day because we didn't quite know how the mathematics would work out. We can confirm that Matt Strand from Racing Lab Esports is your Season 9 silver champion with a 50-point lead over Paul Halliday. He cannot be mathematically beaten as of today, and therefore congratulations to the Norwegian driver for a phenomenal season. And well, he'll be looking to try and end his season on the ultimate high, which is to take that crown and over the top of that add another win to his purse. However, the battle for P2, well, it couldn't be closer. 12 points separates an old pointers Halliday versus Steve Hobbs of Fusion Racing, and Halliday's results and consistency consistency has been left in the dust by Steve Hobbs' rising form, but can Paul Halliday find a last-minute stability in his performances in order to bring home that P2? Well, Hobbs will be hoping he can't, and Hobbs really has been the man on the rise, but he's still got 12 points to overhaul. Craig Shield, meanwhile, sits P4 on 166 points at 8 Racing Zion, only 3 ahead of Sean Doby, the sister team driver from Clicks for 8 Racing, and it's a further 2 to Guy Kylie for the wrong stuff, and a further 8 points to Alistair Hatcher for 8 Racing Zion, only 2 ahead of Glenn Humberstone for 8 Racing. Or in other words, the battle for P4 right now is so close, it's on a knife edge between what is the best part of 5 drivers, and who will be our 4th place finisher, we'll have to see. We have Danny Weston, meanwhile for Project 88, EMP9, and continue to keep your eyes on him on 128 points. 2-time driver of the day champion now in terms of taking that accolade, and we look forward to seeing who's going to be the driver of the day from Brands Hatch, and indeed from today, and we'll announce the Brands Hatch driver of the day at the start of qualifying shortly, with Joel Luton only a further point behind for the wrong stuff, completing a top 10. Next Fusion Racing's Adam Greason and Wayne Basson at P11, P12, ahead of Owen Halliday for the null pointers, and then Jason Mumford, Cameron Smith, and DCW Racing's Matty Wild complete your championship standings. And then come to the team standings, and here we can see Olympus Esports lead the way by almost 100 points. Now, to be a bit more specific, it is the best part, if my mathematics is correct, of what is none other than 90 points, in fact not 99 points, let's do it the other way around, it would be the best part of what is 89 points. But as our drivers get set and ready to go racing today, well, the key point being here in the fact that right now Olympus Esports are your team's champions, in the fact that with what is only Daniel Sedgley on the grid today for Olympus Esports and Philipp Hammer on the grid for Impulse Racing, neither team can score enough points to usurp the other, and therefore it does mean that Olympus Esports will be your champions after today, and congratulations to them on what has definitely been a hotly contested teams championship, and it does mean now they are effectively 3-time teams champions, 3 seasons in a row if you do include the collaboration between Olympus Esports and what was their sister team they were racing with as of the previous season, and that was GDC Racing. But now coming to Cube Controls of Parts, of course, in P3, they are holding on to 3rd place and look certain to take it today ahead of Racing Lab Esports, with Racing Lab Esports and Blackout OPR equal 131 points, and in return Satellite Racing in P6 and 124, one clear Fusion Racing, and the battle right now for what is 4th place could not be tighter between the 4 teams. 8 Racing sit P8 ahead of the Sim Racing collected by 2 points, and Effect Simulations are a further 7 points. In the hunt for P8, it's a freeway fight, with WS Racing Esports looking to get in there. P11 currently best of the rest ahead of the null pointers by 2 points, and it's Griffin Motorsport, 8 Racing Sign, and Project 88 who complete your top 15, with the wrong stuff clicks for 8 Racing and Frida Sport completing your championship standings. And then come onto the circuit for today, and our circuit is none other than Oran Park Raceway. The Grand Prix circuit located in what is the suburb of Sydney of Narellan in the state of New South Wales in Austria, not in Austria, Australia I should say. Let's get our consonants right as we look to the circuit map here prior to us by iRacing.com. Thank you to iRacing for the absolutely fantastic simulator, and of course what is the absolutely brilliant track maps that come with it. Well, this is a circuit which is absolutely heart-pounding as you race around it, for the simple reason it is a very short circuit, albeit the circuit map would make you think that this circuit is a lot longer than it is. It is only 1.62 miles in length, and therefore it is a quick and sweet circuit with an average lap time in the region of what is 1 minute and 6 seconds for our drivers under race pace. As they roll their way around here, they'll find themselves contesting 12 corners packed with variety. And to describe it further, as they make their way down the start-finish straight in towards the sweeper at turn number 1, it's a quick left-hander followed up by a heavy braking zone into Coca-Cola corner at turn 2. Coming out left-hander, they'll make their way under Yokohama Bridge and in towards Shell corner at turn number 3. 2 right-handers which make their way through Shell corner and Champion Curve before going up the rise of Sun elevation change, which sees them go over the Yokohama Bridge and over the crossover and into turn number 6. A sweeping right-hander, which is very easy to go wide at, but if they get it right, they'll make their way into Foster's Dip. Turn number 17 on tries to make their way downhill and into the King of 8 for Momo corner, and off-camber left-hander at turn number 9, which sets up the fast run through the O'Brien Aluminium Dogleg at turns 10 and 11, and into Recaro corner at turn number 12, where it's got that wall on the outside, and you won't want to go too deep, as if you make contact with the wall, you're going to be finding yourself in the pits very quickly. But that is the lap, and indeed, as quickly as we've talked about it, that's how quickly our drivers are going to make the round around it. And let's give you a quick reminder of the rules. In terms of qualifying for tonight, an open qualifying format shall be used, and that means all the drivers drivers will be on circuit together looking to set their best possible time, of which they have 20 minutes to do so. And drivers may not reset to the pits outside the pit lane, because in doing so they shall end their qualifying session. They must come into the pits if they want to reset to their pit box and change something on the car, put fuel in or change the tyres. Race-wise, the maximum permitted fuel load has been limited to 30 litres, and that does mean we have strategy on the cars today. There should be a single 45-minute endurance race for today, and that will bring together the points for what is your heat and feature combination. And the grid shall be set based on results of qualifying. That's a given, and indeed we have the given of the standing start as always in this series, and there are no mandatory pit stop requirements in the endurance race, so our drivers must choose when to pit, and they can choose exactly what they want to pit for, whether it's fuel, tyres or just fuel. And we expect at least one fuel pit stop here. That's enough rules and regulation, and beyond the 24 instant points, at which point they'll have a drive-through penalty. And we need to stop with the rules and regulation because already we're going into qualifying. And well, let's take you through our schedule for tonight. Times in what is Greenwich Mean Time, that's GMT or Universal Coordinate Time, and as we can see there, we've just got underway with qualifying, 20 minutes in duration, and we'll be heading into our endurance race, gridding at what will be just after 20 past 8 this evening. 45 minutes will settle the deal and settle the score in terms of who our champions are, but we have an ambient temperature of 25 degrees centigrade, and where's a track temperature of 26 degrees, and where it's already heating up out there, I can tell you, as our drivers begin to make their way around on their warm-up laps and on to their first flying laps, and in perfect time as well, as we do look to your gold championship leader of Philipp Hammer as he makes his way on through Coca-Cola at turn number 2 and in towards turns at 3 and 4 immediately here, and while he makes his way through the right-hander in at the number 60, absolutely set and itching to go today. And well, as he makes his way around, we also do look to Matt Strand, your silver champion, and therefore today he's got no pressure on him, albeit I think he'll put some pressure on himself to try and bring home what is the final silver win of the season, and we look forward to seeing whether the Racing Lab Esports driver is able to do it in the 2.73, whereas he does so making his way on through. We do need to take a brief moment to point out that with regards to that team's championship, our mathematics was completely erroneous, and indeed Olympus Esports are leading by 91 points over Impulse Racing, but the point still stands that Olympus Esports have taken what is the team's championship. And Daniel Sedgley currently making his way down the pit lane onto the exit, and well, he's the Olympus Esports driver in the 10th day, and well, he's battling with Philipp Hammer for that title in the Gold Drivers Championship, and 8 points between them, but he is the challenger. Meanwhile, Hammer is the leader. But as we see our first lap times come on through, it's only appropriate that we do now talk about what is your driver of the day from last time out at Brands Hatch. And with 33% of the vote from Brands Hatch, we can tell you that he has become a three-time driver of the day for this season. And indeed, nobody else has come remotely close to achieving it. He is the only repeat driver of the day as well. It is Project 88, Daniel Weston, as he goes around that Coca-Cola. Oh, goodness me, and that's contact between himself and Matt Act. He's going to try and limp that car home now after the contact. Well, that's going to be a tow to the pits, and Weston's qualifying is already over. Well, just as we talk about one of his huge accolades he's achieved for this season, it's gone very wrong for Daniel Weston, but congratulations to him on the driver of the day accolade, and we'll tell you a little bit more about how you can vote for your driver of the day from this season finale come midway through the race. But as we come on to Matt Strand, as he makes his way on through the dog leg and in towards Recaro corner, we'll look up there from one of the drivers. In fact, somebody off the road, that is Steve Hobbs getting it very wrong early on, and well, nobody wants to make mistakes here, and we'll taking a little bit of a sneak peek down the paddock and overhearing what some of the drivers had to say in their practice sessions with regards to the Oran Park Raceway circuit. Many of them were saying this circuit feels absolutely slippery to the touch, even on the tarmac or the asphalt, if you will. It does not feel like it's got any grip out there at all, even when the tyres are nice and warm and the brakes heated up, and well, that could be a huge factor today. Perhaps some drivers will find themselves out of their comfort zone, but one driver right now is absolutely in his comfort zone is Emil Kumans for Effect Simulations. He's currently a provisional pole sitter on a 105.745 as he makes his way through Shell Curve and into Champions Corner, and as he makes his way on through the right-hander turn at number 4. Well, right now, Kumans getting himself set up, no doubts about that, in the 911 car, and well, as he makes his way over the Yokohama Bridge and now down towards the second half of the lap. Could he take pole position today? If so, if he's made in pole position in a qualifying session, and could we see him take his first win of the season right at the end? Well, if so, that would be a huge statement in preparation for season 10, which we'll also talk a little bit more about at the end of today's broadcast. But as he winds his way on through it, we do say hello to Brian Walker there in the YouTube chat, who advises that he was planning to race tonight but ended up testing positive for COVID and has been feeling unwell all day, and we're very sorry to hear that, Ryan, and well, very happy to have you tuning in, but at the same time I hope you've been able to get a lot of rest right now, and well, I do appreciate that having COVID-19 is not the happiest experience, and well, for many it's definitely been a troubling experience, and for yourself, hopefully today's broadcast can turn some of those troubles away and make you feel a little bit better, even if it's just mentally and not physically. But of course, if you're tuning in right now, whether it's on YouTube or Twitch, don't be shy, feel free to say hi, and one driver who has also got a big fan in the Twitch chat right now. It's none other than Nicola, who in the Twitch chat is wishing the best of luck to Matt Strand, the champion in the silver class. And well, he definitely has been one of the fan favourites out there, particularly if you hail from Norway. He's been flying the banner very high for the European country and was absolutely brilliant to see. But as he makes his way on down through what is turn number 8 and in towards 9 he goes. Well, let's talk a little bit about Adam Greason here, currently for a visual pole sitter in the silver class. He cuts his way up the inside there of one of the wrong stuff machines. I do believe that's the car of what is there with him, unless I'm very much mistaken. I do believe that's Guy Kylie out, who just stepped to the side. But as they make the way up over the Okoma Bridge right now, Greason absolutely attacking lap as Luke Andrews sets the fastest lap now in the session of 105.701. It's 11 thousandths faster than Philipp Hammer. Elmore Koopman's only a further 5 thousandths behind that, so it's looking very close at the top of the standings right now. And Matt Strand has moved up to P5. This circuit is really starting to come alive, and just in good time. What about Paul Halliday, I hear you ask, in terms of where he is right now? We cross the timeline here, moves up to P10 from what was previously P12, and as he heads in towards the sweeper and then Coca-Cola corner, very tricky combination. And we're going to get on board lap with one of our drivers very shortly to explain just exactly what you need to do here at the Oran Park Raceway circuit. And one of the key things is you've got to be absolutely committed and know your braking points. This circuit is absolutely picky with braking points. If you brake slightly too late, you are going to get it wrong. But one driver gets it absolutely right. It's James Parker as he sets a new fastest lap of the session. It's a 105.624, and well, that is the best part of 800 faster than Luke Andrews' previous provisional pole lap. And as he makes his way on through turn 2 and in towards 3, right now more to the brakes he goes and gets himself set and absolutely ready to attack. As he does so, meanwhile making his way on through Steve Hobbs, and will the Fusion Racing drive into line. He's currently P3 in the silver class here. Well, can he find a bit more time before all is said and done, heading across the line? And as he does so, he moves up to P8, so he's moving closer to Strand's P6 time. Hobbs now was the best part there, I do believe, of what is less than very much mistaken, 3.5 tenths of the Strand's time. But right now, Strand does seem to have a little bit more pace compared to his rivals, and we have seen that be the theme, typically, of qualifying all season long. When Strand's been in the zone, nobody in the silver class has been able to dethrone him from that provisional pole position all the way to the end. And will Daniel Sedgley now responding to Parker, Andrews and Hammer by putting in a lap good enough for P2 on a 105.697, and well, can he find a bit more out there? Can he potentially get himself on pole? And could Parker put himself on the front row of the grid? And we'll give the fact it's an 8-point delta between what is Sedgley and Hammer. It's going to be close when you keep in mind, of course, the points are being combined together from what is the 2 rounds that you normally see under a heat and feature combination. So it does mean it's 40 points for the win, it's 37 for second, and we work our way downwards from there. And some mathematics is going to be needed, but an immediate response here from Philipp Hammer as he comes into another lap and he goes visual pole. But then Emil Koopmans goes even faster, and well, both drivers here absolutely attacking. But meanwhile, we need an on-board lap, and we're going to be riding on board here with Lee Holmes as he takes us around for a flying lap of the Oran Raceway Park circuit. Makes his way in towards turn 1, the sweeper just lift off the throttle and then stamp the throttle back on before braking hard down to first gear at the apex of turn number 2. A bit of power oversteer there as he has to take evasive action from Sean Dovey, returning to the circuit. Getting ready to go onto the brakes, then for Shell corner, turn number 3, and down to first gear once again, nice and tight to the right hand of right angle apex, and now in towards champion curve here, open up a little bit more, drop into second, as he powers his way out now, starting to sweep uphill through always the right hander of 5, over the Okama Bridge into turn 6, balance the throttle in third gear, and let the car gradually drift out, coming into turn number 7, holding third gear once again, plenty of apex curve, in towards the kink of 8 as he fights with the steering wheel, car becoming unsettled, and now into Momo corner, turn number 9. Through a left-hander, back on the throttle immediately, flat out now in the run up towards the dog leg, into the right to left, and committing all the way through as he goes over the rise. And onto the brakes, about 100 metres from corner apex, and turn number 12 of Recaro corner. Needing a nice late apex there, but you can see a bit of hesitancy to get on the throttle, the car unsteady, and Holmes having a very erroneous lap as a result, and looking to bring things back together for another flying lap. But that's a flying lap of the Grand Prix circuit at the Oran Park Raceway as Holmes makes his way now in towards turns 1 and 2. Onto the brakes he goes once again in the 8-tip racing machine. 135 try 9, there's still plenty of time out there when he's 6.5 tenths down on pole. There's a Hammer, but a spin for Holmes there. I think the rear right tyre just going to the grass and manages to reverse it up the banking. Now, can he get it down off the bank? That's the problem, because you can see the car's been perched on what is an incline. He he's struggling. I don't think he can. And Lee Holmes might have just found himself grounded from going any further forward in this qualifying session. If so, that is a dramatic end to a qualifying session for Holmes. We saw drive for Daniel Weston right at the start, and now for Holmes, that is qualifying complete, unless he can get a nudge off of a friendly driver. But right now, he's not looking at promising at all. And in fact, he's had to tow to the pits, and that is Lee Holmes' qualifying session over, ladies and gentlemen, as he won't be allowed out the pit lane to set another lap. But meanwhile, as we do see it with Sean Dobie making his way on through, well, the silver driver right now still trying to find a bit more time out there. 10th down on Daniel Weston, who's the P7 silver driver, P16. But Matt Strand, meanwhile, well, a good point there from Nicola in the Twitch chat. I do believe that's Nicolai Argard there, unless I'm very much mistaken. And with Strand going P2 overall, only a 10th off a Hammer's pole time. And well, right now, it does look as though Philipp Hammer here now starting to inch slightly ahead in this qualifying session. But then again, still plenty more to go with regards to this qualifying. We're only at what is 11 minutes into the 20. We still have overtime in effect as well, so it means we've got about 10 minutes of qualifying left to go. And well, on what is closer to home stop, keep in mind, of course, he's from New Zealand, but I do believe he lives in Australia, unless I'm mistaken. Here comes Blackout OPR's Corey Lazarus, currently P9. What can he do? He takes provisional pole. It's a 105.195, and as he makes his way into the sweeper, there's one thing that's guaranteed about Lazarus, and that is he is always going to come on strong late in the qualifying session. He's always been a thorn in everybody's side. When he puts a lap together, he finds a way to get onto that front row when he can. And we're right now 2 tenths clear of Hammer's time. That puts Hammer P2, Strand P3 still. And well, Strand right now 3 with that 5 tenths faster than Adam Greaveson in P8, the second place silver driver. And well, as our drivers make the way on around here and coming on towards what will be the closing stage of this qualifying session, can anybody else find some more time out there? And that's going to be the big question on their minds, as Lazarus right now is going even faster on this lap. And well, I think he's just trying to put the benchmark as high as possible. Could we see a 105.0 before this is over? And if so, that'd be an absolutely incredible lap to conclude the qualifying session. But here comes Lazarus then. He's not improved in subsector 1. He's gone the fastest in subsectors 2 and 4, and no improvement in subsector 3. But as he heads to the line, James Parker just up the road from him, who does not improve. Well, Lazarus crosses the timeline. It's a 105.048, and well, I wonder now if we could see a 104.9 from Lazarus, given the pace he's showing. Meanwhile, Adam Greaveson heads to the timeline. He doesn't improve from P8 currently, and well, he makes his way down under, breaking it into the opening left-hander of which turn at number 2, with turn 1 being more of a kink. Well, the problem will be in the race, of course, when they go too wide into turn 1, it's all about who's on the inside line and whether the driver on the outside is willing to give up track position, as it can get very close and personal very quickly through there. And well, he makes his way on through it, turn number 4. Well, right now, Greaveson will know that qualifying is just one part of the story, and when you've got 45 minutes of racing around here, well, consistency is going to be absolutely key. And well, the tyres today are definitely going to take a severe beating on the left-hand side in particular, as he makes his way on down in towards turn number 9. As he does so and over the rise. Meanwhile, looking at Elspeth to Glenn Humberstone, as we see a driver off in the distance. That's Sean Dobie, who's fallen off the circuit. And well, when you fall off the circuit here, you've got a long rejoin as well. Some mistakes are absolutely punishing, no doubt about it, but Sean Dobie bringing it back together. But we were going to talk about Glenn Humberstone as he goes for a personal best, and he goes from P19 to P16 overall, P17 in the silver class of 107.276. A good lap there from Glenn Humberstone to get ahead of Weston, Dobie and Kylie Howe. And well, as he makes his way a little bit deep there into Coca-Cola corner, he's going to try and bring that together now for the remainder of the lap if he wants to improve. Meanwhile, Daniel Sedgley had just been passed there by Humberstone. I think Sedgley just trying to get himself warmed up and set for another lap. He's currently P7. Not an ideal place to be qualifying, but I think he'll have something in reserve here, and I think he's just trying to get the tyres on the brakes warmed up as much as possible. What he's going for was a couple of quick laps here of a very light car in terms of fuel, and we have seen that strategy work out on occasion in these extended qualifying sessions, the open qualifiers for the endurance sessions, when sometimes it's all about just getting 2 quick fire laps in. The first one being a very aggressive lap, but it's affecting your banker, and then the second lap when you've got minimum fuel left, you go all in and fully commit, or you full send it, and that's where the best lap is available. But as he makes his way on through Momo corner, well, meanwhile, he is going to have what is Paul Halliday making his way on past, and once he does so, Halliday carrying on through here in the camouflage machine for the no pointers in towards Recaro corner he goes. Can he improve from what is currently P13 or P4 in the silver class? It's an upward turn in his qualifying performance so far. Does he find a bit more time out there to get closer to Hobbs. He does indeed. He cuts the delta in half. It's a 106.436. So Hobbs right now only at what is 800ths away as he heads onto the brakes here for turn at number 2. And as he does so, meanwhile, we do look to Luke Andrews, who recently for Cube Controls Reparto course has moved up to P4, with P4 in the gold class, I should say, P5 overall. And as he makes his way out to turn 2 in towards 3, well, Andrews right now in at the 59, I think feeling as though the time is coming to him little by little, but given the fact he's only what is 2,000ths of a Parker's time, and it's a further what is 200ths to Strand in P3, well, Andrews could definitely get himself on that second row of the grid, but I think he'd be eager to try and get himself into P3 as a minimum, if not get himself on the front row of the grid. As he comes out of where it's turns 5, 6 and into 7 he goes. He does have in front of him Philipp Hammer. He can use a bit of a pace car here to try and gauge where he might be losing a little bit of time and where he's gaining time, but losing the rear end there, he won't be gaining anything other than some very hot tyres as he brings the car to a halt there, albeit on the racing line, but drives behind it, able to react in time, and he's going to try and get it turned around there. He's going to have to keep an eye on his delta though, because a lot of drivers are making their way through at the moment. As you can see on the circuit map in the top right corner of your screen, he's very eager to try and get it to turn around, and with only 4 minutes left on the session, you can understand why, but right now he's got to be patient as Luke Andrews, as everybody is coming through. He does eventually get it turned, but it is a painful process, but in the end doing safely, and well, he brings it back together. Meanwhile, Ian Halliday out of the circuit in the Racing machine as he heads on down for no pointers. We're not improving on this lap. He's currently P14 or P5 in the silver class as he heads in towards turn at number 1, and we're right now looking for a bit more time out there. He is what is the best part of 2/10 off of brother Paul Halliday, and well, he'll be hoping he can stay with his brother Paul in this qualifying session and then go racing it together and look to bring home a major set of points to wrap up the team's championship standings on their side on a positive note. But the heads on through turn 3 into 4. He's been one of the most improved drivers of the season, has Owen Halliday, when we consider in the first couple of rounds he competed in, he was quite considerably off the pace by the best part of 2 to 2.5 seconds, but now finds himself on average about 1.5 seconds off the overall pace set by the gold drivers, and in the silver class now find himself on average about 8 to 9 tenths off of the pace out there set by Matt Strand. So therefore definitely he's come a long way over the course of this season. It's fantastic to see, with 3 minutes left on the clock right now. Emil Coogan's just tucking in behind there, the effect simulation driver, hoping there's a bit more time available to him as he heads in towards Recaro corner, but lets the car go deep. He's setting himself up for a flying lap, and was only fair that we jump on board here, ladies and gentlemen, as Emil Coogan goes on the attack at Oran Park. So he makes his way in towards the sweeper turn at number 1, 5th gear at the moment, and coming into that left-hander into 6th, and will just lift off the throttle, downshift to 5th, downshifting all the way now to 2nd gear, nursing the car in towards the apex there, keeping it nice and tight. Now back on the throttle as he makes his way under the bridge into turn 3, and braking about 100 meters of corner apex down to 2nd gear, trying to go for as late as possible apex here to get the car turned on through, and now in towards turn at number 4, onto the brakes, about 75 meters of corner apex, less speed to be carried to the corner, 2nd gear as he powers his way up through turn 5 and over the bridge, and immediately into the Kinker 6 here, holding the throttle in 3rd gear as he heads in towards turn at number 7, just to lift and downshift to turn the car in 3rd gear as he makes way from right into left, and now in towards Mono corner he goes. The corner catches out so many down to 3rd on entry, plenty of apex going being taken, but backs it off, and Koopmans in lifting off there, I think not happy with the lap so far and the traffic he's had in front, and therefore deciding to back it off completely. Meanwhile, Daniel Sedgley has just taken provisional pole of a 104.970 as he wobbles his way through the sweeper, but Sedgley may have just done enough to dethrone Hammer in time, and well, this could have huge implications when we go racing. If Sedgley can have a good start on that lead, and the Hammer should fall down the order, but we'll have to wait and see. And Sedgley right now in the number 29, we're doing everything right at the last moments of this qualifying session. Hammer meanwhile only 200ths off, and there's Lazarus and where's Andrews at P3, P4, and well, the top 3 separated by less than 800ths currently, with Andrews bucking the trend, being what's the best part of 3.5 tenths further behind, and Matt Strand still your silver pole sitter in what is P5, as we give you a quick show of the class standings on the left hand side of your screen, and that's how the classes will stand, keeping in mind of course they score points based on class position, not overall position in their championships. And well, right now Strand looking at very comfortably on form by 0.5 seconds over Greason for that silver pole position, and well, as he makes one for losing the rear end, then that is going to be his qualifying session over surely, as he falls down the banking, and by the time he recovers he won't have any pace left to go on to another flying lap. He's going to lose out too much. I think Strand wasn't an improving lap until it all went wrong, but meanwhile as he brings the car and nurses it to what will be at the end of his qualifying session. From him we have had Stephen Hobbs now improved to his P8, And there in second place, the silver class, the 105.997. It's enough to keep him ahead of Adam Greaves and his teammate from Fusion Racers. He goes around at turn number 2. They're all spinning out there. They're pushing it hard, but nobody right now is able to keep it together. And once Daniel Sedgley makes his way through turn at number 3 for the final time in this qualifying session, and we say hello to Wake and Bake Race, who's cheering on with Corey Lazarus in the YouTube chat there. And welcome to you, good sir. Will mean while we see Sedgley make his way over the bridge and a number of drivers in the pits already. Can anybody find some last time? Philipp Hammer right now making his way past Lazarus. Lazarus backing off. He'll be coming into the pits. He's not on a flyer, but the checker flag is waving, so this is going to be the last qualifying lap they'll do this season. And as Hammer makes his way out the final quarter, he's improved in subsector 2, but not elsewhere on the lap. Can he snatch back pole position right to the end? He crosses the timeline, and for Philipp Hammer, it's not enough. It's going to be a P2 at best for him, and Daniel Sedgley, I think, will be confirmed as your pole sitter for our final race of the season. As Matt Strand on the recovery here. Meanwhile, Adam Greaveson bringing it back together here, and in fact just limping to what will be the pit lane. So Greaveson just gradually, in fact I think the cars ran out of fuel as other drivers make the way on around. Well, as they do, Marcel Fritsch coming underneath our cameraman. Can he improve from P14? No, he can't. Neither can Paul Halliday from P13, and Stephen Hobbs is your last driver out there on the qualifying lap as he heads in towards Recaro corner. Can he find a bit of time? Well, I don't think he can, given the fact he had that spin at the starter lap, and therefore the Fusion Racing driver will be coming into the pits. But that is qualifying complete, ladies and gentlemen, and it means your final pole sitter for this season will be Daniel Sedgley, who takes one of a limited number of pole positions this season for Olympus Esports. But on the front row of the grid, joining him is your gold class championship leader, and his main rival he's trying to bring down with an 8-point delta, Philipp Hammer, who's looking to go to be a 4-time gold champion. Well, goodness me, it could not be closer between the top two. 200 separating them, and then a further 500s to Corey Lazarus, who start P3, joined on what will be at that second row of the grid by Luke Andrews, and then it's silver pole P5 for Matt Strand. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we do now have what is a 5-minute warm-up period for our drivers to take a comfort break, get the right setup on the car, and then get ready to head to the grid. So without further ado, it's a perfect time for you to step away if you need to, in order to get a quick liquid refreshment, in order to get yourself set ready for the racing, or perhaps a packet of crisps or a set of popcorn, depending on your preferences. This could be the equivalent of a cinematic finale, there's no doubt about it. But as we get ready to go racing, of course, we would also like to encourage you that if you're not currently subscribed to the UKSimRacing YouTube channel, or alternatively the Twitch channel, well, why not do so today, because it's the best way to stay up to date with all the latest broadcasts available on either of the channels, whether it be through the weekly Porsche Cup series hosted on Thursdays, or the weekly GT3 series is hosted on Sundays. Keep in mind we've got the season finale of that coming this Sunday as well, and you won't want to miss that. There's plenty to watch out for in the season finale of the GT3s. But coming back to today, of course, we've got plenty to watch and watch out for here. We'd also like to let you know that if you have enjoyed all the broadcasts this season, and perhaps you enjoyed the racing as well, and if you've ever wondered how you can potentially support UKSimRacing beyond just subscribing to the channels, well, did you know there's a quick and easy way to do so via our affiliates? Because at UKSimRacing, we're affiliated with a multitude of what is real-world companies of both what is sim racing and real-world motorsport, and these do include Swelio Meta Sim Racing Coaching, Race Anywhere, and Demon Tweaks. And if you do head to our website, uksimracing.co.uk today, that website appearing on screen now, well, you'll notice there's a link to our Discord in the top right corner. And if you click on that, you'll be able to join the UKSimRacing Discord, and that serves two purposes. Firstly, if you ever want to be on the grid, such as you're thinking that you want to be on the grid for Season 10 of the Porsche Cup, more about that at the end of today's broadcast, it's a mandatory requirement for you to be part of the UKSimRacing Discord, so that way you can stay up to date with all the latest news regarding your series, and on top of that as well, attend the pre-race driver briefings. However, more relevant to today is the fact that our affiliates provide discount codes which are only available on the UKSimRacing Discord, and if you use one of those codes as part of your purchase, it puts you in pole position to receive a discount, which is a win for you, but it's also a win for the wider UKSimRacing community, because let's be transparent, we do receive a kickback from your purchase using an affiliate code, but we are a non-profit organisation, and therefore every penny and pound that we make from the kickbacks from your affiliate code usage, well, you guessed it, we put that money into funding future series, including future editions of the Porsche Cup, the GT3 League, and plenty more we have planned for 2024, including, I do believe, an MX-5 endurance series that's coming up in the near future. So do remember, a little purchase can go a long way in supporting UKSimRacing, but goodness me, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you one thing now, I think a good breather before we go racing is definitely going to go a long way for our drivers and get themselves mentally composed and set for going green flag racing for the final time this season, and we are only just over 3 minutes, in fact just under 3 minutes away from going to the grid for the final time for the round 13 endurance race here at Oran Park Raceway in Australia. Australia, and well, who will be bringing home the championship crown in that gold class? Will it be the potential 4-time gold champion Philipp Hammer? 3 titles to his name so far, and the Impulse Racing driver not holding back and chasing that fourth. He leads by 8 points in the title, or will it be his main rival by 8 points behind? Can he overhaul the deficit of Daniel Sedgley, currently parked up in the pit lane? And well, he'll be getting all the motivational talk right now from the team, and indeed all set and ready to go in the 29. And as we said earlier, whilst the Silver Championship has gone to Matt Strand, it is confirmed that Matt Strand is your Silver Drivers' Champion with a round to spare, where he'll still be looking to try and end his season on the ultimate high, which is to take the season finale win. But then again, we have got the battle for what is P2 in the championship in the Silver class, and that battle being between what is none other than Paul Halliday and Steve Hobbs, with Halliday holding onto a 12-point advantage. But you can imagine that Hobbs will be looking to try and usurp him as much as possible in the fight for P2. Excuse me, in that fight for P2 we should say. And in the team's championship, well, there's plenty to be sorted outside of your championship winners of Olympus Esports and what is Impulse Racing finishing P2. But will it be Cube Controls Aparto course who take P3 at the end? We'll have to wait and see, as all the drivers now are only seconds away from heading to the grid. And well, as they get set, it's a sunny day here in Australia. The conditions, they're pleasant, but it's a circuit that is unrelenting lack of grip it offers. There's no doubt about it. So our drivers aren't going to be able to take it easy here. Could we see some drama into turns 1 and 2? Will it be smooth sailing? Well, we're not sure, but we'll be certain that once we do clear the first couple of corners on that first lap. Our drivers right now, they've all made this journey, ladies and gentlemen, and however it goes today, it has been an absolutely fantastic season in the UKSimRacing at Porsche Cup Season 9. No doubt about that, one of the finest, if not the finest season of racing we've seen so far in the series history. But how will the history of Season 9 end in the books? Well, we are about to find out. And as we do see Connor DM Craven there in the Twitch chat cheering on Daniel Sedgley, the checker flag comes on, and with that, it's time to head to the grid, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for our 13th and final race. So as our drivers make their way to the grid for the season finale, this is how they'll line up. It is on pole position at Daniel Sedgley for Olympus Esports, joined on the front row of the grid by championship rival Philipp Hammer for Impulse Racing. On the second row of the grid, Corey Lazarus starts P3 for Blackout OPR, and Luke Andrews joins him at P4 for Cube Controls Aparto course. We'll then have on row number 3 your silver pole sitter and silver champion Matt Strand for Race Lab Esports, ahead of James Parker, the Privateer P6. There's Emerald Koopmans P7 for Effect Simulations, ahead of Stephen Hobbs of Fusion Racing, who takes P2 on the grid in the silver class. Adam Greason for Fusion Racing lines up P9, ahead of Lee Holmes at 8-Tip Racing, who completes your top 10. And then we have Matt Acton for the Sim Racing Collective and Glenn Humberstone for 8-Tip Racing on row number 6. The grid then is set, ladies and gentlemen, and we need to head down to circuit site because the lights are going on, and where is going to be none other 1 red light, 2 red lights, 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights. And it's lights out, away we go for the season finale as Daniel Sedgley looks to get a good start, but Hammer's had the stronger start. Meanwhile, behind it's going to be all that war between Lazarus and Andrews as they charge their way into the sweeper. It's going to be Andrews on the inside as they make the way into the opening braking zone. Still side by side they go, under braking, there's contact, and it clips. Where's Philipp Hammer? There's drama early on, plenty of drivers have got it wrong as they make the way for the opening corners, and you couldn't have asked for a more dramatic start, particularly as Philipp Hammer is concerned, as that means that Daniel Sedgley still leads and the Hammer is all the way down to P18. As our drivers make the way on through where's turns 3 and 4. We've got batting further on down here between Daniel West and John Dutton. Weston gaining places very quickly, a bit of contact there from Dutton on the back of Weston as the Britons push forward into turn number 4. But as they come up the hill and through turn number 5, we've got Andrews there still trying to get the car turned around right at the back in turn number 2. As they make the way on over the bridge and down through turns 6, 7 and 8. Right now the battling starts to subside early on, but goodness me, we need to take a look back at what exactly happened in that open lap shortly. But before we do all that, of course, we've still got an open lap to conclude, and Corey Lazarus right now on a mission to try and carve his way back through the field as quickly as possible for Blackout OPR. After that absolute dramatic start, and we'll have to see who potentially initiated the contact between Lazarus and Andrews. Indeed, we've not had any insight as to how it would be, But one thing we can tell you is after one lap of racing, Daniel Sedgley leads ahead of Matt Strand, who's your silver leader, currently P2. Emil Koopmans P3, ahead of Stephen Holmes P4, Lee Holmes P5, Matt Acton P6, Glenn Humberstone P7, Owen Halliday P8, Marcel Fridge P9, Daniel Weston P10, and Corey Lazarus Besteres P11, as he had another moment there at turn number 2 and releasing Weston. And well, that's going to be Joel Duton looking around the outside, can't quite find it as they make the way in towards turn number 3 for the second time of asking. And as the drivers roll through 3 and in towards 4, well, right now it does look as though everything's starting to calm down to a degree, and we've got a long journey left in this race, no doubt about it, ladies and gentlemen, and therefore we can't say anything is concluded as of yet. There's been a bit of a lock-up in towards turn number 7. I do believe that's Sir Marcel Fritsch who's in P9, but as Lazarus continues to try and hound and chase down Daniel Weston, a 3-time driver of the day. Weston, of course, was they make the way out to Momo Corner. Right now, Lazarus just simply being held at bay by the Project 88 driver, but meanwhile, further on down the order, Philipp Hammer in a wounded Impulse Racing number 60 machine right now, trying to get himself back into this race, and now he's got to pick them off one by one in terms of where he needs to finish today in order to guarantee that gold title. It would be P3 or higher in the gold class, and therefore Matt Acton is going to be at the driving needs pass, as is Lee Holmes, as they make the way on down towards turn at number 1. And here goes Hammer then, looking around the outside of Halliday into the opening corner. Can he find it? He can indeed. Halliday making him work the long way round, and as Hammer just goes slightly deep there, he's going to bring it back together as the German driver to take P16. It's one down, but it's a long list of drivers to cut his way past, and we're going to have to take it one place at a time. But meanwhile, as we look here to Lee Holmes, currently chased after Emil Koopmans for an advantage of 6 cents over Stephen Holtz behind. The A-Tip Racing driver here getting himself into this race gradually and getting himself all set up for success as he makes his way in towards turn at number 8. Through left-hander he goes at Momo Corner, and as he does so, well, the gap to Koopmans is gradually open up. A 10th loss there through what is the middle sector, and now the 35 driver 9. There's a bit more time that needs to be found. But meanwhile, we've had a major offer for Halliday off of camera, and that's dropped him all the way down to P19. I'll take a look at what's happened very shortly. Luke Andrews is in the pit lane after lap 1 instant, and well, meanwhile, Matt Acton on the offensive here, chased after Steve Hobbs in the run down the start finish straight for the SimRacing Collective versus the Fusion Racing driver into turn 1. Can Acton find a move here? Well, as we ride on board with the 44 driver, taking a peek to the inside, can't quite get the move done. What he is trying to do is set himself up for success and trying to get into Hobbs' head and try and force a mistake from the British driver as they head onto the brakes for Shell Corner. Through the right-hander of 3 up towards the right-hander of 4 they go, and as he does so, almost running wide there and losing the rear of the car bouncing around the exit curve. It depresses away from what is the circuit, and that's why running wide out of so many of these corners, even onto the exit curves, is tantamount to a risky disaster. And right now, Acton at knowing exactly how far he can push the car versus where the track limits will start to bite him as he makes his way on through the marine sweep and in towards Momo. He comes on through the left hand there of turn number 9 on towards 10. He goes through the dog leg. Meanwhile, further down the order, we have had Sean Dowie battling side by side here with Adam Greason, and this is between the two of them for what is P12, P6 for the silver class. But here comes Hammer picking up another 2 places as a result, as he's also made his way past Craig Shields slightly off camera. Matt Strand sitting the fastest lap of the race. Oh, goodness me, there's a lock up there for Greason, and it's a brief grace to the wall, but the key point being that's going to release Hammer up another position. Hammer now into P12, back up into P7 in the gold class. Still work to be done from Hammer as they make their way down towards turn number 1. You can see there the damage on Hammer's car, how much it's costing in terms of straight line speed. But Greason able to stay mostly with him in the drag race. But then Hammer does cement that P12 position at 5 minutes into the race, 40 to go. And as they make the way in towards turn number 3, we do have a replay to explain exactly what happened at the start of the race, ladies and gentlemen. And well, here is the replay. So we ride on board from the perspective here of Luke Andrews. He got underway at the green flag start, and well, a good start here from Andrews. But you can see Lazarus immediately coming over, and Andrews not wanting to budge and stay on that inside line as they make the way under braking into the corner here. I get the feeling Andrews backing off slightly, and well, under braking there, a bit of contact with Lazarus, who seems to have lost the car slightly and be turning in based on the angle, and well, that sent both of them around. But I think we need to take a look from another perspective here as to what happened. I think we might be able to get the helicopter camera over with Andrews' car, and this might tell us the full story here as to what happened. And was they made the way away again, Lazarus covering them very sharply there and just about doing so on the threshold of what's possible. And was they made the way down into the opening corner, Andrews on the inside backing off. They made the way through under brake, and Lazarus coming slightly across, and that triggered the contact, and Andrews in the end, a passenger in his car, Parker going deep there under what is braking cold brakes and cold tyres, and that led to the multi-car incident with what was also an off-track for Luke Andrews, albeit I believe that was separate. And what exactly triggered Andrews' error? Well, we're having a look here back, and well, not Andrews' error, my apologies, what had been the error for Adam Greason, we should say. And I think Greason, in the end, of his own volition going on the round, as we do have the replay to explain that as well. And in fact, putting some tyres on to the gravel now to catch the car through risk of making contact with his teammate Stephen Hobbs, and it could have been both of them off very quickly indeed. But that explains what happened on the open lap, ladies and gentlemen. And we return to your live pictures there's we do so, there's been an incident for Daniel Weston that's seen him have to be towed to the pits and retire the car. And well, as Ryan Walker says in the YouTube chat, and I completely agree, Hammer just an unfortunate victim in that instant. But Adam Greason right now not playing the victim but playing the attacker here as he makes his way out of turn number 12 through Recaro, gaining the place down Joel Dutton and moving back into P5 in the silver class. And Greason, of course, with that open lap error, having to do things the hard way now as Hammer makes his way past the cameraman, and then does Greason and Dutton as they make their way in towards turn at number 2. As they do so, a bit further down the order, James Parker making his way at the inside of Guy Cardial. I think Cardial back it off there in towards Coca-Cola corner to let Parker take the place 9. There's no point in fighting, but we have had an incident for Daniel Weston, as we only mentioned, goodness me, moments ago. And what exactly happened to Daniel Weston? This was on lap number 4, and here's the story. This was Weston making his way in towards turns 1 and 2, under braking into Coca-Cola corner, carrying a lot of speed, and the car just letting go. And well, in the end, I don't think he was able to slow the car, perhaps carrying a bit too much speed, contact with the tyre barrier, and well, as he did rejoin in the end, the car limping there, and I think that's what's led to his retirement, is damage to the suspension. In fact, he made his way up speed into turn number 3, and well, the car in the end not in a good state, and shortly having to park up afterwards and bring it into the pits. But as we do return to your live racing pictures, we do look to Owen Halliday here, battling with Corey Lazarus, the Rexy machine on the left-hand side of your screen. And as they make their way into the sweeper, Lazarus now up to P8 there, as they head onto the brakes in towards turn number 2. And we'll be into the left-hand as they go and Albert up towards turn number 3. Well, right now, Halliday doing everything to no points there to look, trying to secure his best result of the season, which would be a P4 in the silver class. And we'll brother Paul Halliday down in P10 in the class and P18. Indeed, it's been a difficult day for Paul Halliday so far. He's had multiple off-tracks in the opening 5 laps and just trying to bring things back together little by little. But then again, it's not over until we reach that checker flag. I can tell you that. But right now, things were to finish as they currently stand. Well, it would mean that Steve Hobbs would take that second place in the Silver Championship. Would be the runner-up over Paul Halliday, given the delta in the points they would accrue. But as they make their way on around him, did we head towards the goodness me, I was about to say head towards the end of 10 minutes, but not without Owen Halliday having a spin there coming out of Momo corner, and the null pointers driver going around. That's going to give a number of places to some of his silver peers, including what is Craig Shield and also Sean Dobie. Was he rejoins and trying to rejoin without compromising the racing line for other drivers? He does so, but that puts him down to P9, just ahead of Paul Halliday, who is the best part of 6 seconds behind him. Well, meanwhile, we look to Marcel Bridge, who now has Philipp Hammer for company, and will these two race together in previous seasons under the banner of Team Germany. But the WS Racing esports driver now, he's got a rival with his former teammate, and well, he makes his way up towards turn number 3, lifted off there, and I think recognised at first he doesn't want to get in the way of Hammer, old teammate, but also on top of that, in the fact that just trying to keep him behind is only going to lead to him wearing down his brakes and his tyres at the early stage of this race. And the WS Racing esports driver playing the longer game, given the fact he's still got the place over Parker, and Andrews is in the pits, and I do believe Andrews may be having to retire the car given how long he's been in the pit lane. But as Rich makes his way down through turns 6, 7 and 8, and behind him now will be Adam Greaves, and he'll be looking to try and charge his way through sooner rather than later. Meanwhile, we do have Stephen Hobbs making his way in towards Recaro corner, and the number 7 driver here currently P2 in the silver class. Gap to Matt Strand continue to open outwards little by little, but Emil Koopmans, interestingly, into the pit lane. He's already come on in, and well, we're not quite sure whether that is strategic. Surely it can't be a drive-through penalty for picking up 24 instant points already. That would be very quick if he's done it that quickly, not even clearing a third of the race. I think Koopmans maybe just deciding to go for an early pit stop here, given the fact we've had a number of drivers fall off circuit. We'll give you an update when we can. Well, they are putting fuel in the car. He is stationary at the moment, so therefore Koopmans is being serviced. Corey Lazarus, meanwhile, still trying to pick his way on past some more drivers, some more silver stars, including West Glen Humberstone as we ride on board the nose bumper on Lazarus here, losing the makes his way over the Okoma Bridge and in towards the right hand return of 60 goes. Humberstone they're going a little bit deep. Lazarus getting closer and closer here as he comes down into 7 and 8 through right into left, but this is going to get very tentative and tenuous as they head in towards Momo, but he knows exactly where to go for the move here. Does the 404 driver. It's a nice switchback and taking P5 overall, and Lazarus on the charge, and as he makes his way upwards in towards Ricardo Corner, it's another place gained, and we're behind Matt Acton trying to do the same versus Humberstone surely in due course. As I do think, and I would agree with you there, Ryan Walker in the YouTube chat, that I would say that Emil Koopmans is going for the undercut because we have had a pit stop time of 13 seconds stationary, 46.68 seconds in total from pit entry to pit exit, and Koopmans is back out there, P17. He's got clear track in front of him. The nearest car is 6 seconds up the road. It is the car of Paul Halliday, and I think he'll be feeling quite comfortable with that. As meanwhile, Matt Acton passing Glenn Humberstone into turn himself. The Humberstone going deep into Coca-Cola Corner, and the 888 racing driver now bringing it back together as he makes his way around in P7 at 9. The next silver drive behind him is Adam Greaveson. As we show you those class stands on the left hand side of the screen, Greaveson right now 6.5 seconds behind and looking at to close little by little. As meanwhile, Corey Lazarus has just picked off what is Stephen Hobbs in towards turn number 6. And some of you may be asking, how exactly did that happen? Well, here's the quick replay. So it's coming up out of turn at number 5 in onto the bridge they went, and we're looking on the inside already, and I think Hobbs not having a choice as to whether he were to defend or let it go, and in the end being made to let it go with Lazarus looking to the inside immediately coming over the bridge, and with the 404 driver not afraid to make the overtakes that others would perhaps think have a second thought about doing so. As they make the way on down the start finish straight, we return to your live racing pitch there, ladies and gentlemen, and Will Humberstone right now still behind Acton and chasing after Hobbs for second place, but you're still at leader meanwhile in P2, in what's P2 overall right now. It's Racing Lab Esports and Matt Strand, and just carrying on as he has done so since the start of the race. And well, I think he'll be very pleased to be in P2, but 9 as well that Lee Holmes is trying to close up to him and will equal on pace of Strand and Holmes. And in fact, interestingly enough, Strand right now to the gap of a 10th is practically matching Daniel Sedgley's pace. Sedgley has opened up a sizable 2.3 second gap to what is Matt Strand, but it's not a huge gap, interestingly. And well, could this be the sign that Matt Strand could potentially be looking to try and take an overall win? And well, if he was to do so, that would be the first ever overall win notched by a silver class driver in the UKSimRacing Porsche Cup's history. And well, what an achievement that would be if he was able to make it happen. But meanwhile, in a dramatic turn, you can see here Lee Holmes has been passed by Philipp Hammer, and I believe Holmes has been passed by Lazarus, Hobbs, Acton and also Humberstone on top of that, and there's been an error for Lee Holmes quite recently. What made that error happen? Well, here's the replay. And this was coming down in towards what was to, oh goodness me, and the car bouncing there by the looks of things on what was the entry curb into turn number 7. A little bit of an odd instant that one for Holmes. It almost was as if it hit a bump in the road, albeit really unsettling the car. And the 888 racing driver in the end bringing it back together, but not about losing multiple places. And Hammer going around the outside of Momo Corner, knowing he had the overspeed, and Holmes still recovering the car, but still brave to do so from the Impulse racing driver. But he's got nothing he can afford to lose now, and that's why he's going all in for it. As we return to your live racing pictures, well, right now Holmes are chasing after Hammer, but I think the damage is done here. The fact that Hammer into P4 in the gold class, and we just need one more place, and he will be back on course for what would be the gold title if he was to finish P3 in the class today, if my maths is correct. But as he heads on through Momo Corner and in towards the dog leg, up towards Ricardo Corner he goes right now. His next target will be none other than Matt Acton, who is only 2 seconds up the road. And Will Hobbs right now proving to be a bit of a thorn in the side of Acton and Humberstone as he tries to hold on to P4 overall here. And what is a P2 in the silver class, you can see Acton putting off racing line, and I think letting Humberstone go. Now that's very interesting to see there, for the simple reason I think, well, in fact, Hobbs now under pressure. There's a lock-up from Humberstone. Humberstone going all in. That's going to bring Acton back to the inside, and side by side the two of them go. And Acton right now on the outside. It's going to be Humberstone on the inside, and there is Hammer. Hammer looks up the inside going into turn number 3. I don't think Acton expects it, but Philipp Hammer now up into P3 in the gold class, and as he makes his way through turn number 4, and right now Hammer into third place, and that would be enough to seal the championship. I don't think he's going to leave it at that though. I think he'd like to chase after Corey Lazarus just to give himself a bit more mental security, but the Pulse Racing driver absolutely flying as me on Matt Acton, losing the rear into turn number 7, and the corner catching another. Oh goodness, and Holmes just avoiding contact there, but had to take to the gravel and grass to avoid it. But that was some cat-like reflex action from Holmes. I think he was only millimetres away from making contact. How he did not hit the rear of Acton, I'll never know. But that is testament to how quick the reactions are on Lee Holmes, the 88 Racing driver. Absolutely phenomenal there, and sacrificed a good portion of his race, but for the greater good of not seeing the Sim Racing collective car have to go to the pits with him. But as he makes his way into Recaro corner, meanwhile we've also had Glenn Hummerstone go around at Recaro, and will the 88 Racing driver dropping down a P4 in the silver class now behind Adam Greaves, who's just made his way on through. And well, plenty of mistakes from drivers here as we make our way to the end of the first third of the race, and we've still got plenty to go here at the Oran Park Raceway circuit. But right now it seems though more and more this circuit is catching out drivers by the dozen, and meanwhile one driver who's catching up to drivers meanwhile is Emil Koemans after his first pit stop. But the Dutchman for Effect Simulations is really having to work hard here to find a move on Craig Shields as he heads into the sweep and Coca-Cola, and it is not coming naturally versus the 88 Racing signed driver. I get the feeling Koemans may have made an error by pitting so early, unless he knows something that we don't know. I think right now that track position that he had was worth more than the track position he's now got to try and make happen, given the fact that nobody else is pitting for their strategic stop right now, and therefore it does seem as though Koemans has got to do things the hard way. But as he heads over the bridge here, well, right now the overtaking places he'll be looking for will be the likes of what will be the run into Momo corner, which he's very shortly going to make his way into, and then of course the run to Recaro and the start-finish straight drag race in towards the sweeper. But overtaking opportunities are quite limited unless you're extremely close to your rival, or your rival's made a mistake. And I think Koemans right now all over the back of Hummerstone, heading on through the O'Brien dogleg, and as he heads in towards the braking zone here for Recaro, he's going to have to go all in on the brakes. But remember, beyond that inside line, it's only good for getting the track position initially, but you don't have the ability to get the hammer down. But he does so just about, and Craig Shield right behind him now. Well, I think Emil Koemans has made that P16 stick, and as he heads in towards turn 1, that's 1 place gained, but you'll know there's plenty more he needs to gain before this race is over. As he heads in towards turn number 2, Marcel Fridge meanwhile making his way up the rise and over the bridge, holding to P8. He's got James Parker close behind him now as they make the way on down in towards turn number 7, and as the Austrian driver does right now, it's going to be nose to tail as Parker there with a damaged Porsche. You can see the left-hand wheel arch receded over the tyre, and as a result there, Parker will be losing some straight line speed and also some cornering capability most likely. Fridge right now does not make some nice and wide as there, almost lose it, both Parker and Fridge. Parker almost understeering into a mistake, given the fact that the dirtier Fridge's car, and Fridge meanwhile being bounced around on what was the exit curve in there on turn number 11, and will Parker going to take a slowdown penalty for the track car, as has been attributed by the iRacing automated shooting system. Fridge been able to get away with what's happened, and Hummerstone now sandwiching himself in between the 2 gold class drivers. Parker will be frustrated to a degree by that one, and no, there's still plenty more places he's going to have to gain before this is over. But as the drivers make the way on through here, any moment somebody could fall off the circuit. It is by no means set in stone how this race is going to finish, as Joel Dutton now is starting to close up to the back of this battle for P8 overall, and while he's trying to hunt down what is P4 in the silver class from Glenn Hummerstone. He's currently 5th place of the class, and when he makes his way up the rise and over the Oklahoma Bridge, it's going to be a 4-way battle for 8th position. And well, right now Marcel Fritsch doing very well just to make his car obstinately wide, and therefore just frustrate the drivers behind and frustrate them into mistake. As meanwhile, Corey Lazarus is into the pits. It's a very narrow pit entry there. You've got to be careful how you enter, but the New Zealander makes his way on in, and was Hammer makes his way on through to take P2 for the time being. That's track position only, but perhaps not on strategy. What can Lazarus do here? Can he find a way, firstly, to get some repair work done to the car, given the damage he would have picked up in the open lap instant, and then find a way to hunt down at 2nd place, if not the winner from Daniel Sedgley? Well, as we have that ongoing battle now for P7 between Fritsch, Hummerstone, Parker, and what is Dutton, making their way in towards turn number 2. Well, the wrong stuff driver has fallen back a little bit further, and Fritsch right now just simply holding off the charge of Hummerstone and Parker. But onto the brakes he goes once again in towards Shell Corner. As he does so, Parker close, but not quite close enough to look for a move, as we ride on board with the 120 driver, the privateer, and the 2-time champion in the gold class. Indeed, a champion before the gold class existed, so an overall champion, and then a gold class champion the first season of the gold class, as he makes his way on through at turn 5 and 6, and now into 7 and 8 he goes. Right into left, it's a mistake from Prix. That's going to get Humberstone on through. Can Park also make it happen? He can, just about there as he clears what is the nose of Prix going into Momo corner, but he could have asked for a closer move there. And well, goodness me, that's brave racing. And right now, Dutton's also to come through. Marcel Fritsch is struggling. Well, something's gone very wrong as he makes his way in towards Recaro corner. He's got Lee Holmes behind him now, and well, the places are falling away for Marcel Fritsch. He makes his way on the start finish straight, and here comes Holmes looking on the inside. It's a drag race and down towards turn number 1, and once they make the way onto the brakes here, which of the two drivers is going to come out on top? Well, it is going to be Lee Holmes in, and Fritsch just does not have the speed to be able to fight back versus Holmes in towards Coca-Cola corner. But in another twist, ladies and gentlemen, Corey Lazarus has had to retire the car. They found something on the car whilst it was in the pits, and well, with that, I do believe Lazarus' race is over. A technical issue with the car, and we won't be seeing Lucinda out of the circuit anymore, and that's very unfortunate, and that's going to promote drives further, and what will confirm Philipp Hammer's position of P2 in the gold class, and P3 overall now, as the race continues to push on towards its halfway point as we enter the 22nd minute. But as Marcel Fritsch tries to bring things back together, we take a look back at what triggered that battle, and was Glenn Humberstone right behind Fritsch in towards what was turn number 7, and there Glenn Humberstone and the better run into the corner, and Fritsch backing off there, I think in surprise at Humberstone making the move. And well, what a move from Glenn Humberstone to take the position for P7 in the silver class. We return to your live racing pictures, ladies and gentlemen. It caught Marcel Fritsch out, no doubt about it, as he makes his way into the pits. Emil Koopmans here on the drive through, and we're clearing it was the inside there of Owen, in fact Paul Halliday, as he makes his way out Recaro corner. The effect simulation try and making its way down towards what we turn at number 1. As he does so, well, he's going to take all the places back, all the way up to P7 now. But again, we're still waiting to see the pit stops from Sean Dowie, Adam Greaveson, Matt Acton, Philipp Hammer, Matt Strand and Daniel Sedgley. And I get the feeling that Koopmans right now may not be able to jump back ahead of the top 3 in particular, perhaps not Matt Acton, given the way this undercut strategy has gone so far. But time will tell as he makes his way on through turns 3 and 4. As he does so, your silver leader is into the pits. Matt Strand makes his way on down pit row, and as he does so, Daniel Sedgley staying out for another lap. And I wonder whether some drivers are trying to turn this into a one-stop race, given the fuel tanks have almost reached the halfway point, and we've reached the halfway point as of now on the clock, plus also a final lap to consider as well. But the key point being, if you can go for a one-stop rather than a two-top with a quick splash and dash at the end, that is going to save you a huge amount of time. It's going to save you the best part of what would be approximately 30 seconds in an additional pit stop, and that could work out to the advantage of some drivers here. Indeed, it could be a Goliath of track time that will work out to those who can make that fuel tank just go a little bit longer. But Philipp Hammer makes his way over the bridge and in towards turn 6. Well, meanwhile, Matt Strand leaves the pit lane here, returns at P3 right now. Meanwhile, there's Emil Koopmans, and Koopmans gets ahead. He sweeps up the inside, and well, the undercuts made it work, but he goes too deep, and now Strand comes back to the outside here in the run up towards turn number 3, but Koopmans on the inside down into Shell corner. Onto the brake they go, and as they do, who's going to get ahead? It's too wide on exit, and Strand's still there, Koopmans still there. Neither driver wanting to back out, and right now they're too wide coming on through around to turn number 4, and neither one wants to give in as they make the way over the Oklahoma Bridge. But surely somebody has got to give up soon for the simple reason it's not a too-wide circuit going into turn 7, 8, but they're going to try and make this happen. It's brilliant racing between them. Left into right they go, and as they do now into towards the left-hander, and it's going to be Strand who gets back ahead here, and Momo corner to hold on to P3, and Emil Koopmans meeting his match, and the undercut in the end doing better than what we expected. He's proved us wrong, but right now Matt Strand has also proved that he can hold on, but it's a lock up then into Recaro corner, and this is going to give Koopmans all the run he needs. He makes his way down the start for this straight. It's a battle side by side. Koopmans is slowly bringing himself in line, but will he have enough here into the sweep? He's going to be close. You see Strand trying to cut off the nose of Koopmans as much as possible, and in the end Strand getting his elbows out with Hammer in the pit lane, leaving the pits, and Strand missing his braking point into the barrier, and that surely is going to be severe damage to the right side suspension and Strand's race. Well, could that be it? Could it be a tow to the pits? And if so, Strand right now has thrown away what could have been a candidate for a season finale win, as he does tow to the pits, and Stephen Hobbs now becomes your silver class leader. You couldn't make this up, ladies and gents. I know the phrase has been used time and time again, but this is one of the most dramatic finales I've seen in any sim racing league or even real life league, let alone the UKSimRacing Porsche Cup seasons. And right now Stephen Hobbs is looking to bring bring home the win here for Fusion Racing, albeit he's got a long way to go, and it could be a 1-2 for the team, with Adam Greason currently in P6 just behind. But the big question on everybody's lips is, was there contact between Emil Koopmans and Matt Strand? Well, I think the bigger question we've got to have is, can we get a replay of that side-by-side battle between the two of them? And the answer is, we definitely can. And here is that replay, ladies and gentlemen, the second half of the lap, as they made the way on through what was turn 7 and 8. Brilliant racing between them through the right into left complex, and as they made the way on towards Momo Corner, it was Strand who got ahead initially, but as we ride on board here with Emil Koopmans, we'll get to see the story from the Effect Simulation driver's perspective as we head into turn number 12, and we're going in towards Recaro Corner. The lock up there for Strand, just opening the door back up for Koopmans as they made the way in the drag race on down towards what was turn number 1. But as they did so, side by side they went, and looking back to the exterior cameras here, well, it's going to be a hard one to call. I think in the end, Koopmans backing off, but Strand carrying too much speed, and I think perhaps missing his braking point, and knowing the car was either going to lock up and destroy the tyres, or he had to try and trail brake it onto the grass, and in the end onto the gravel, we should say, and in the end neither working out, and what Strand into the barrier, and well, fantastic racing between them, but Strand pushing himself to the limit and finding that limit in the end, as Koopmans taking that P2 position. As we return to your racing pitch, new fastest lap of the race from Daniel Sedgley at 105.221, and Emil Koopmans not quite on the pace by comparison, albeit all the drivers now have made one strategic pit stop. Those who are running, Strand still being repaired in the pits after the tow work, and well, as Sedgley makes his way on through, turned 3 and in towards 4, meanwhile 9.2 seconds behind, and not closing at the moment, falling further away is Emil Koopmans, the Effect Simulation driver, making his way around a lap down at Craig Shield. The 86 race assigned driver 9 is still plenty of race to go, but also at 9 as well. He doesn't want to be in the way of the race leaders as they make the way onto what is their 24th lap of racing. Shields on his 23rd lap, and meanwhile Corey Lazarus in the pit lane with that retirement phase. He's left the car, so has Daniel Weston. Luke Andrews, they're still taking a look at the car, but I think the cube controls for Paso Course Drive's race is firmly done and dusted. I don't think they're going to be able to get the car repaired, or if they do so, it'll be coming out right at the end to take its final checker flag. But meanwhile, whilst all this is playing out, we have had what is a mistake from Glenn Humberstone, who's gone off circuit of what is, I do believe, turn at number 2, and Marcel Fritsch bringing himself up to P10 now for WS Racing Esports. He heads in towards turn number 3, and well, through the right hander he goes, and as he does so, we say hello not just to Connor DM Craven in the Twitch chat, but also to all the fan base of Olympus Esports cheering on at Daniel Sedgley, including Olympus Esports boss Charles Boschel or Charlie B in the Twitch chat, also ARA Patrick T, that being Apex Racing's none other than Patrick Thompson, who used to race for Olympus Esports, and it will great to see so many of them cheering on their driver. As meanwhile, we look to Marcel Fritsch as he continues to push on for a P7 finish in the gold class, and well, as he does so in towards Recaro Corner, and well, from them to Joe Dutom, who's just a little bit further up the road, and right now the Wrong Stuff driver could be on course for his one and only podium finish in the silver class season here, as he heads in towards the left hander of the sweeper before going towards Coca-Cola Corner. He's comfortably in P9 overall right now, and he does have a nice gap of what is the best part of 5 seconds to Glenn Humberstone, who's in P4 in the silver class, as we show you those class standings on the left hand side of your screen, filtering them just to show you the respective positions of the drivers in relation to their overall positions as well. And well, Hobbs and Greason right now in a world of their own, 5 seconds apart from each other, being turned 13 seconds clear of this man in the number 13. And well, the number unlucky for some, but perhaps that door number of 13 today is bringing him good luck, what with it being the 13th round of racing. As a new fastest lap overall for Philipp Hammer, a 105.103. Well, right now Hammer absolutely putting the laps in, and well, he's going hunting, and his target will be Emil Koopmans, who wants to take the runner-up position off of in order to make sure 100% that he will become a 4-time champion. And speaking of Philipp Hammer, here he is as he continues on his quest to hunt down Koopmans, and then it will be at least a further 9.5, if not 10 seconds at this rate to Daniel Sedgley. And well, Hammer's made miracles happen over the course of the season, there's no doubt about it, but even that might be pushing the definition of a miracle to its absolute extreme if he was able to close Sedgley down over the remainder of this race. But then again, we will see. It's not over yet, and we don't want to put the commentators curse on any of our drivers, as we have had a tendency to do so in season finales of past seasons. But as Hammer roars his way on between the two apexes of the dogleg and in towards Recaro, we're right now He is closing Koopman's hand over fist, and once they make the way to the timeline this time around, what will the gap be? Koopman's there, putting in another lap of 106.049, Hammer a 105.121. He's just stripped almost 9/10 out of Koopman's. Well, Hammer is not playing anymore as he makes his way on through turn number 2, and meanwhile, here is Steve Hobbs, and behind him, Adam Greaveson, only 2.5 seconds back, and behind him is Matt Strand, who is now a lap down, but as James Parker has made his way and along behind, I do believe that Adam Greaveson has found his way into what is a P6 here, and Stephen Hobbs, in fact, P5. In fact, let's rehearse that in the fact that Matt Acton has taken what is P4 off of Stephen Hobbs off camera, and well, how exactly did that happen? We do have a quick replay to explain. As in the drag race down the start for this straight here, and Indian Hobbs just backing off by looks of it's cut into the inside, lifted off the throttle very slightly. You can see the speed differential and then tucking in immediately, and you can tell what the Fusion Sim Racing drivers are looking to do today. They want that 1-2 to end up their championship campaign, particularly for the team's championship, and for Hobbs to take the win to guarantee his runner-up position in the Silver Class Championship, and what they are playing for gold. There's no doubt about it in terms of the result they want, but as Greaveson here has the pressure of Strand a lap down behind, and then Parker, who will need to try and find his way on through. We do say hello there to Wayne Bassett, a driver for Fusion Racing who had to retire midway through the season, and his position was taken over by Adam Greaveson, that being due to personal circumstances. Always happy to have you tuning in, Wayne, no doubt about it. And so here comes the Fusion Racing 1-2. What a way to end a brilliant season, and well, we look forward to seeing it, whether that becomes a reality. But of course, it's not over yet, ladies and gentlemen. We've still got 14 minutes of race there at Oran Park Raceway, and well, it is too early to tell how this is all going to end, given the drama we have seen in the opening half an hour. And well, could more come yet, as now Paul Halliday is starting to make his way on the rise here after Sean Dobie. And well, if Hobbs takes the win, it does mean that Halliday needs to finish, I do believe, 4th place in the Silver Class or higher to deny Hobbs what would be the runner-up spot in the Silver Class. Halliday on the inside, Dobie on the outside. Dobie's going to run wide, and Paul Halliday will take the place as Dobie brings it back together in time for Coca-Cola corner. So he managed to get the speed out of the car, but not able to keep it on track, as meanwhile, into the pits for what will be his second and final pit stop of the day comes Emil Koopmans. So he's committed to a 2-stop here, and well, we reckon that some drivers may be going for the 1-stop. Sedgley and Hammer, we believe, are the prime candidates for the 1-stop here, much like what we did see only a week ago at Brands Hatch with regards to the ability to make the fuel loads go a little bit longer. And well, they're going to make it today go into a 1-stop rather than a 2-stop, but we'll have to see what happens in practice. But right now, Emil Koopman's in again, but he's the earliest of the pitters, and that's going to mean he's undercutting. But is that undercut going to work out twice the times around here? We'll have to see as he leaves the pit lane. It's surely got to be a quick splash and dash. It's only 9.25 seconds here, so it's only a small amount of fuel he needs to get to the end, but he needs all the fuel he can here as he re-emerges in what is P8. He does have a gap of what is the best part of 4 seconds to Lee Holmes just in front of him in P7, and Koopmans will now be praying that most of the drivers in front of him, if not all of them, will have to make one more pit stop before this is over, and in doing so he'll be able to take the place that he's just lost back by just simply being out of the circuit at the right time. But meanwhile, we look back to Adam Greaves there, P5, as he has the growing pressure from James Parker behind in the hunt for 5th place. The two silver drivers are Hobbs and Greaveson would love to not just make it a 1-2 in their class of Fusion Racing, but they'd also like to make it a double top 5 overall. Indeed, top 10s in the silver class are much to be coveted, let alone top 5s. But right now, they're going the one step further, and as they make the way out of Recaro Corner, and it does look as though they're Parker close, but not close enough to really venture a move at the moment. Half a second the gap between them as they head on down, and further down the order, Glenn Humberstone has found his way past Marcel Fritsch for what is P10. And onto the brakes, they go into turns at 1 and 2, and well, as they do so, we jump aboard the nose bumper camera here of what is the 120 of James Parker as he makes his way under the bridge and in towards turn number 3. On the brakes he goes through the right corner, and we'll get him nice and close. Indeed, you can see, you can almost reach out and touch the rear bumper of the Fusion and brace the machine in front. But still, as Parker makes his way out of turn for the better exit there, but the problem is he's too close to be able to think about pouncing into the kink of 6, and therefore he's having to back off on through and in towards turn 7. This is where he gains again, but he's got to pick the right time to pounce, and that's a key part of racing around the circuit, is you need to pick the right time to get close to a rival. Go on the attack, and if you get it wrong, you end up getting nice and close, but there's no way for you to attack the driver into the next sequence of corners. And Parker finds he's got the speed, but he's got it in the wrong place at the moment. He gets very close going on to Ricaro's apex, and when he makes his way out of the final corner, 2 tenths is the gap. And well, Greaves will be grateful. He's got the tail Hobbs just in front of him. Parker will have the double toe. He thinks about looking to the inside, in towards the sweeper, but too far back in. What he's trying to do is get offline, trying to get a mistake over Reese, and he does so. Onto the brakes he goes, and it's going to be a lunge to the inside there into turn number 2. It's a beautiful move under braking, and James Parker takes P4. Adam Greason moves back to P5, and I do believe as well Matt Acton falling off the circuit whilst all this was happening has rejoined, and there is Matt Acton for the Sim Racing Collective, who's rejoined P6 overall, P4 in the gold class. Behind Parker is now on course for potentially the podium, as we do say hello in the Twitch chat to UK Sim Racing's Chris Eddersford there, and we hope you're doing well, Chris, and at the right time as well, as the racing enters its final 10 minutes, and as our drives roar their way round to the conclusion of the season. We'd just like to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, that with regards to Driver of the Day voting for Oran Park Raceway this season finale, the voting is open as of now, and link is available in your respective chat, whether it's YouTube or Twitch. But hold the fort right now, as we do see Stephen Hobbs under pressure here from Parker. Parker getting very close, coming out Ricardo. This is a P3 overall, as we see a rub to all from Matt Strand behind, and as they make the way down the start finish straight, Hobbs pulls to the middle of the road. Parker looking around the outside here. Parker now trying to do the opposite of what he did only a lap ago, as Greason follows on, but Parker's going to go all in for it, and onto the brakes he goes, and now James Parker moves up for P3. I think Hobbs here doesn't want to risk it. He doesn't want to throw away what could be that P2 in the Silver Championship, knowing that right now that Paul Halliday is in what is none other than P5 in the class, and therefore it will go the way of Hobbs. Greason behind there on Acton's rear guard versus Acton surely, and as they make the way in towards turn number 4, the story of today is that Fusion Racing right now are on for a 1-2 in the silver class, their best combined result of the season, and well, could it come all the way home, or will there be one last twist in the tail, dare I say it, as meanwhile at the front of the field, Daniel Sedgley holding on here for the lead in the gold class and overall, with an 8.2 second gap to Philipp Hammer, who has catched him at least half a second a lap as the Impulse Racing driver. The Olympus Esports driver knows that even if he takes this win and Hammer finishes P2, it will go the way of Hammer in the championship. He needs Hammer to finish P4 or lower in order for Sedgley to take that championship crown, with every point today counting. It's an undroppable round here at Oran Park Raceway, and therefore Sedgley right now has done everything he can do in his power. He's taken pole position, he's led this race every lap so far, but he's got to hope that Lady Luck is on his side, and Hammer right now will know that whilst he wants to win, indeed everybody wants to win out there, you wouldn't be a racer if you didn't want to go for the win. He also knows that all he needs is a P2 today, and he will become a 4-time gold champion in the Porsche Cup Series. But as he makes his way in towards turn number 12, the clock continues to tick down, 8 minutes and a final lap count in, and as he roars his way onto the next lap, meanwhile we look down to Joel Douton, who right now falling out of P4, well, out of P3 in the silver class, down to P4 with Glenn Humberstone right in front of him. And well, how exactly was the move made in the battle for the final silver podium position? Here's the replay to explain. As they made the way up towards what was Ricardo corner, Douton going a bit deep, and Humberstone just up the inside, immediately seizing the opportunity, and well, they're setting the door shut firmly in the face of Douton, and a brilliant move. But Douton trying to come back on the start finish straight here, and Humberstone immediately slightly offline. You'll notice putting the car a bit more towards the centre, saying to Douton, look, I know what you're going to try and do, just don't do it. And as a result, Douton not looking for the move, and Humberstone able to consolidate the position. As we return to the live racing pitches, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, Matt Acton has taken his second pit stop, has come out in P13, stuck behind Sean Dobie at the moment. This has costed time. Meanwhile, Elmore Koopmans, who decided to go for that early undercut, is already back up to P7. He's the leading driver in the order of drivers who have taken 2 pit stops in terms of strategy. We do believe that Sedgley and Hammer are both trying to make this a 1-stop race, whereas everyone else is committed to a 2-stop strategy of fuel. And as Acton drag races his way down the start for the straight, trying to look for a move on Dobie, hoping the Clicks for Tip Racing driver would lift off there, but right now Dobie's not doing so as they head in towards turn number 2. He doesn't have to be fair. The silver drivers can battle with the golds and vice versa, albeit it's only Pride that's on the line. They don't gain any extra points for finish ahead of gold driver to the silvers, but right now Sean Dobie just holding on here and trying to chase after Paul Halliday, who's 4.5 seconds up the road, but Acton knowing that this undercut strategy is going against him as time continues to trickle away. But meanwhile, we look to Lee Holmes here, who has the growing pressure, the growing presence, I should say, of Emil Koopmans behind him as they make the way out of turn number 12, and on they go onto another lap here, onto lap number 35 of racing. and Koopmans right now hoping that Holmes will have to take a pit stop sooner rather than later. But will he have to, or can Lee Holmes find a way to make that 30-litre fuel tank the maximum fuel tank available last what is the best part of 25 minutes plus that final lap? We'll have to wait and see as he heads in towards the braking zone at 4 Shell Corner once again. But as he does so and gets himself set up for champion curve, we look back over the rear of the 35 car, and will right now Holmes under pressure. You see Koopmans getting very close there, and will Koopmans right now absolutely fiery in spirit, looking for the move. But Holmes in return just taking his time, parking the car in apex as needed, and then he controls track position, and therefore he has the right to the racing line as they make the way on down through turn 7 and 8, straight line the apex so much as they can. Koopmans very close to tomorrow corner, but can't find a way on through. We try to set up a run in towards Recaro, but Holmes in return, he makes his way through the dog leg to know what's coming, and will know he just needs to keep the car on the black stuff here in order to be able to keep Koopmans behind. Coming out to turn number 12, Koopmans getting very close there. A bit of a rub to the wall from Holmes. He makes his way onto another lap, and will Koopmans close, but no cigar in terms of being able to make a move. Too close at the wrong time there into the final corner, and knowing it now he's going to try and do it again onto this lap as they made the way for the sweeper into Coca-Cola, onto the brakes and off the anchors they go. Holmes going a little bit deep down the corner, but looking smooth enough to correct his lines. He takes a little bit of gravel with him as they head in towards turn number 3. Things stay as they are as they make the way on around through the first double right-hand complex and towards the bridge. But as they do so, Joel Dutton still trying to come back for the wrong stuff here versus the ATEC Tech racing driver of Glenn Humberstone, who right now trying to hold on to P3 and trying to end this season with a podium, which will be a great bookend to the season as he makes his way up the rise of the bridge here through the kick of 5. And Dutton in return trying to look for that podium as they make the way on through in towards turn 7 8 very shortly, and nose to tail right now. We suspect both drivers may have to take another quick splash of fuel before this is done. 4 minutes left on the clock, ladies and gentlemen. Stephen Hobbs is into the pit lane. What about Adam Greason? Does he come in? No, he does not. He carries on as the Fusion Racing driver. Does he think he can do it on a single tank of fuel after that pit stop? Well, maybe he can, maybe he can't. Perhaps there's a pit stop coming after the next lap. We'll have to wait and see. But Greason takes the lead of the silver class. Meanwhile, Humberstone versus Dutton, they both carry on for another lap. So Hobbs right now might be going for the undercut versus his peers. Maybe simply doing so to get himself into a bit of clear track when he emerges from the pit lane, albeit with the way the cars are sequenced around the circuit right now and the number of cars that are lapped down. I think definitely it's a big question mark if they could actually find some track space to work with. Meanwhile, Lee Holmes out under more pressure from Koopmans as they head out of turn number 4, and on the rise they go, and Koopmans close once again, and as they make the way over the crest of turn number 6, we ride on board here with the 911 driver as he heads in towards turn 7 and 8, rolling through right into left, and meanwhile Matt Acton has had an off track at what is, I do believe, turn number 1, unless I'm mistaken, but Koopmans meanwhile following off track of Holmes, going on through turns 8 into 9, 10 and 11, and as he does so here, the effective relation drive so close, goodness me, under braking. Koopmans absolutely ripping time out of Holmes, and that's a better exit. He's timed that well. A bit of power oversteer, however, but down the start finish straight. Koopmans this time is wheeling the car on. It's less than 10 as they head towards the sweeper. Will he go for it? He's thinking about it. He's going to commit to it surely. Looking up the inside, trying to get Holmes to make a mistake, but Holmes doesn't do so. And whilst there were mistakes early on, in fact, there is an error from Holmes. He goes deep. Koopmans on the inside here as they make the way through Coca-Cola, taking a slight run wide, and well, Koopmans in and immediately cuts the inside. You can tell Koopmans has had enough. He doesn't want to be behind Holmes any longer. And as they make the way out 3 towards 4, with only 2.5 minutes to go, Emil Koopmans takes P5 and was P4 in the gold class. His next target, James Parker, 5 seconds up the road, but it's Parker going to the end. He could potentially be doing so because there's not many more laps to coming into the pits before it's all over. And new fastest lap of the race, meanwhile, the only 104 set in the race. It's a 104.92 to nearest 100 as set by Philipp Hammer. As meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, there's drama. Stephen Hobbs right now just creeping his way out of the pit lane. I think this is the third pit stop for Stephen Hobbs. The 1-2 for Fusion Racing. The dream is over surely as he re-emerges after what is another run through the pits in what will be P14 here, and with that in mind, this is not the way anybody's wanted it to go. And for Stephen Hobbs, right now he's down in P7 in the silver class, but could we see more cars coming to the pits before this is all done? We've got 1.5 minutes to go, and therefore not many more laps as we look to Daniel Sedgley, who right now completely in control of this race, and as he makes his way onto another lap. No, this is the penultimate lap of race onto lap 40 of 41 that will squeeze in today. The Olympus Esports driver has a 3-second gap to Philipp Hammer. It is coming down rapidly. He's lost what is another second to Hammer on that lap, but I don't think he's going to mind it because if he loses at a rate of a second a lap. He'll still be leading comfortably on what is the closing lap of this race. But right now, I think fuel is the big question for so many a driver. And has everybody got enough fuel to get to the end? Could we see some drivers potentially crawl to a halt only yards from the finish line? It's happened this season multiple times. We don't want to see it happen. Could we see some last-ditch pit stop for the drivers? That's the big question as well. Whereas we do see Sedgley making his way on down for turns 6, 7 and 8. Well, meanwhile, Philipp Hammer pushing on, and then we look to James Parker. Parker right now, as he defected to the pits, he is. It's a late pit stop for Parker. It's a late pit stop for Greaves, and Emil Koopmans goes on to retake P3 here with what is another lap to burn down. He's got one more after this based on where our race leaders are, and here come the leaders. Will either of them have to come into the pits? Well, here they come. Sedgley stays out. Meanwhile, that is going to be when it's Humberstone in. Hammer stays out as well. They go into the final lap. They are going to make the one-stop work. They believe the one-stop can happen here. Meanwhile, Koopmans is the leading two-stopper out there. Greaveson right now still in the pit lane being serviced. Where will that put when Stephen Hobbs come the end of it all? We'll have to wait and see. But meanwhile, Paul Halliday is out there, and surely Halliday is leading in the silver class right now. Is he on a one-stop? If the no pointers driver is, this is going to be incredible. We are on the final lap right now, and goodness me, right now Paul Halliday could be on course to snatching the win in the silver class here at the Dev, and that would mean he becomes the runner-up of the silver championship. Well, meanwhile, as we look here to Daniel Sedgley, you can see the gap is down to 1.2 seconds. The fuel is running critically low, and Hammer is stripping life out of every corner here in terms of Sedgley's lead, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And as they make the way on through the dogleg, we're right now heading in towards the final turn, Recaro corner. The checker flag gets ready to wave, and will Sedgley put it on pole, and he's going to come home your winner here at Oran Park Raceway. And the checker flag waves. It's a win for Daniel Sedgley, his second win of the season, but he won't be able to take the championship as Philipp Hammer and P2 have done enough. And the Impulse Racing driver is a 4-time gold drivers champion in the UKSimRacing Porsche Cup with P2. Meanwhile, whilst he crosses the line elsewhere on circuit, Paul Halliday has brought home the silver class win on the one-stop strategy. The no pointers driver will be your runner-up in the silver drivers championship after all is said and done. Emil Koopmans is still on the lead lap to finish his race. Matt Acton's P5 has finished, and if Greason takes the run-up spot on the podium in the silver class, header Sean Dobie, who takes the podium right to the finish, P7 overall. Emil Koopmans, meanwhile, will take a bow to this man who's made the two-stop work and crafted a P3 out of it. He will return to the gold podium, the overall podium, right at the end of the season for Effect Simulations. Goodness me. Well, the two-stop props was not the most effective strategy, but it's made it work. And meanwhile, Guy Carniel has taken P4 silver, P8 overall for the wrong stuff, missing out on the podium, but he'll still be happy with that ahead of teammate from the wrong stuff, Joe Duton, who takes P5. Lee Holmes completes your top 10 in the end. Car out of fuel parts up on the grass there for Tech Racing. Stephen Hobbs has taken a P11 for Fusion Racing, and a heartbreaking end to the season for the Fusion Racing team. What's looking to be a 1-2 in the end, it's not. It's a 2-6 in terms of where Greason finished ahead of Hobbs, and meanwhile Matt Strand, Marcel Fritsch, Glenn Humberstone and James Parker have completed your top 15. I think I need a timeout, ladies and gentlemen, because this is the craziest end to the season I've ever seen. Only 3 drivers finishing on the lead lap, and well, 2 of them doing the one stop and 1 on the 2 stop. But Paul Halliday, my goodness, an old pointers try, and we thought he was out of contention after it all went wrong in the open laps to take the runner-up spot in the silver championship. Well, that goes to prove, ladies and gentlemen, never count a no pointers driver out until the very end, because right now he hasn't scored no points today. He scored the lion's share of what is the silver points, and that is an incredible end to his season. There's no doubt about it. But as he makes his way on his cool-down lap here, all the drivers are making the way up to what is the start for this straight. I think they're all parking up. Sean Dobie in the end taking 3rd place, and indeed on the podium, and what has been a long time since we've seen him there in the silver class podium. Guy Kyliel taking the top 5, Joe Duton as well, and all the wrong stuff are going to be absolutely over the moon with regards to their season ending performance. But as all the drivers make the way into the pit lane, it has been an incredible end to the season. Matt Strand, unfortunately, that major error in that toe to the pits midway through the race, missing out on what was the winter cap of his season, but still silver drivers champion, and accrued enough points at Brands Hatch to put things to bed before the season finale. But as he makes his way on down, well, goodness me, ladies and gents, but what an end. And well, with that, let's take you through those race results subject to any Stewart's inquiries, and here they are. So after an absolutely mesmerising 45 minutes of racing here at the Oran Park Raceway in Narellan, Sydney, Australia, to wrap up this season at Season 9 of the UKSimRacing Porsche Cup, brought to you on iRacing, Daniel Sedgley, your winner overall for Olympus Esports by 7 tenths in the end over Impulse Racing's Philipp Hammer, and then Emil Koeman's round off the overall podium there for Effect Simulations, the third and final drive to finish on the lead lap with the two-stop strategy, putting in what was the best part of 49 seconds down on the top two. Paul Halliday, P4 and in, your silver class winner behind the gold top three. The first drive to finish a lap down there for the null pointers on the one-stop strategy. I think it's caught everybody out by surprise, with Matt Acton and P5 there for the Sim Racing Collective, and his best result of the season to wrap up the season, a P4 in the gold class, and then Adam Greason ran up in the silver class, P6 for Fusion Racing, ahead of Sean Doe with the Clicks Tech Racing Dryer, sneaking in a surprise silver podium right at the end, but he'll be absolutely overjoyed at that, as will be the wider Tech Racing team. From the 159 driver, Guy Kyleout and Joe Dutton taking their first top 10 finishes overall the season, and 4th and 5th in the silver class. There for the wrong stuff, ahead of Lee Holmes P10 for Tech Racing, wrapping up the gold top 5, and then Stephen Hobbs P11 there, P6 in what was the silver class, and a heartbreaking end for Fusion Racing today after what was looking to be a certain 1-2 all the way to the checker flag. From the best of the rest driver, Matt Strand, Marcel Fritsch, Glenn Humberstone, James Parker completing your top 15, and then we did have our retirees of what was Craig Schill, Corey Lazarus, Owen Halliday, Daniel Weston and Luke Andrews. And well, for Craig Schill and what is Corey Lazarus there, definitely a difficult race, albeit from the start all the way to the end. Craig Schill will be classified as a race finisher for Tech Racing Sign, as he did complete over half the race distance of what was 41 laps. But for all of our other drivers there, i.e. Lazarus, Owen Halliday, Daniel Weston and Luke Andrews, they will be classified as non-finishers, as they did not complete more than what was 22 laps of racing. But now coming on to the individual classes, it's only fair we cover these given the way it's played out, and to give you a recap of what it means to the championships, Daniel Sedgley, your winner of the gold class firstly, as seen here for Olympus Esports, and ended his season on the ultimate result. However, it will not be enough to dethrone Philipp Hammer from taking the 4th Gold Drivers' Championship title. The Impulse Racing driver, after the drama on the open lap, fights his way all the way back through the field to a P2 finish, and well, that makes him a 4-time champion as of the provisional standings. Effect Simulations' Emil Koeman's there with a season-ending podium. Indeed, he's been fighting for podiums all season and finally making it happen in the endurance race. He'll be pleased with that, ahead of Matt Acton, a P4, his best result of the season for the Sim Racing Collective. The first of the drivers a lap down, ahead of Lee Holmes at Tech Racing, who rounds off the top 5. Marcel Fritsch P6 had a James Parker at the end, and then we had the retirees of Corey Lazarus and Luke Andrews for Blackout OPR and Cube Controls at Reparto Course, who are classified as non-finishers. Then coming on to the silver class, they may be the slower class, but by no means are they the less dramatic class out there. And Paul Halliday with that win at the end, which confirms his runner-up spot in the Silver Drivers' Championship for the null pointers by 6.2 seconds over Adam Greason for Fusion Racing. Greason ends his season on a high, as does Sean Doe for Clicks for Tech Racing, with that podium finish, which I do believe is going to promote him into what will be at P6 at the end of the championship standings, although I may be wrong on that, subject to confirmation. And then we can see Guy Kyleout and Joe Dutton wrap it up with P4, P5 there for the wrong stuff in the best result the team have been able to take this season, and both drivers achieving personal best performances. Stephen Hobbs P6 for Fusion Racing by only what was 2 tenths of line ahead of Matt Strand for Race Lab Esports. For Strand, it wasn't to be his day today, but still he won't mind it given the fact he is your silver champion regardless of the results here at Oran Park. And then at Glenn Humberstone for Tech Racing, taking P8 ahead of the non-finisher Craig Schill for Tech Racing Cyan, but technically he will be classified as a finisher, as he did complete over half the race distance, retiring 14 laps from the end. So P9 to Craig Schill, and then on paper P10 to Owen Halliday for null pointers, and P11 for Daniel Weston for Project 88, but both drivers classified as non-finishers as they did not complete half the race distance. Well, goodness me, ladies and gentlemen, what a conclusion that we have had to this season. And we'd just like to remind you that if you have now decided on your driver of the day for what was this round of racing, the voting is available. A link in the description, not in the description, in your respective chat, whether it be the YouTube chat or the Twitch chat. Indeed, it's a quick and easy Google form, only 3 clicks, and you can put your vote in for your driver of the day. And we will announce the driver of the day on the official UKSimRacing Discord as of what will be after excuse me, and it'll be after midnight on Sunday, with Sunday the 3rd of March, as votes do close as of midnight Sunday the 3rd of March 2024. So the announcement will most likely be going out as of what will be sometime around midday on this coming Sunday. Do get your vote in, it means a lot to our drivers, and I get the feeling that some of our drivers will be very keen for post-round interviews shortly, and it's going to mean a lot to them. So therefore, let's oblige them, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back in approximately 10 to 12 minutes time for our post-round interviews. Don't go anywhere, you won't miss them, plus further information as to the upcoming Season 10 of the UKSimRacing Porsche Cup. We'll see you very shortly. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we are back for our post-round interviews. And today we've got 3 interviews lined up with a whole variety of individuals, starting off with 2 of our drivers, beginning with Matt Strand from Racing Lab Esports, our silver drivers champion for this season. And we're going to be hearing his perspective shortly, not just on the dramatic and absolutely sensational race today, but also his championship campaign where he has really been the star of the silver class all season. Then we're going to be hearing from Paul Halliday, the Silver Drivers' Championship runner-up and our winner today in absolutely dramatic fashion with strategy working to his advantage. And then we're going to be hearing from a representative of the team's champions, Olympus Esports. It's going to be none other than Team Principal Charles Bichelle. But as we get ready to have Matt Strand join us in the interview room, indeed, I believe he's only moments away, we're going to be hearing the story behind his season, and we'll also on top of that just how things went today and what could have perhaps gone better, what didn't quite go right, and everything in between as he gets ready to join me. But as we just wait for Matt to join at the moment, I think he might just be taking a brief breather. In fact, he does join me now. Good evening to you, Matt, and firstly, congratulations on taking the Silver Drivers' Championship for this season. It may have been wrapped up at Brands Hatch a week ago, but you still came here with your A game today, and really that's been the story of your season, bringing the best game possible to each and every round and staying one step clear of the field. How does it feel to hear the words, you are our Silver Drivers' Champion for Season 9?
Evening, Paul. Thank you. Yeah, it's good. I had a good progress through the season. Started a bit low on iRating and pace, and started to like the car. Started to get the pace improved. So, unfortunately, not the end I wanted to the season, but yeah, it was a good fight with Emil until it all went wrong in T1.
Oh, 100%. Let's talk a little bit about tonight as we do start to look back at the footage where it all did go a bit wrong in towards turn at number 1. And talking in particular about the qualifying lap firstly, an absolutely phenomenal qualifying lap, putting you P5 on the grid. Excuse me, P5 on the overall grid and on pole position by a considerable margin. I mean, you've had a habit all season of not just taking pole, but taking pole in the silver class by normally 2 to 3 attempts. You've got a reputation for it now, but how was the lap at Oran Park today?
It was good. I did some training on Monday, and I felt really good doing training when I could get the tires on. I was a bit concerned in officials because I've been doing really bad in officials. I can't get the tire switch on for lap 2, but I knew we had open qualifying, so that meant I knew I could have some time to get the tire switch on. So I was just taking 2, 3, maybe 4 out laps to get the tire properly heated up and get the confidence in, and then I could push. So I had it was really good. I got that lap in. I had one more go. I was up by 2/10, but then I made a mistake in the last corner. So I was hoping for a personal best, but it couldn't quite make it. But although it was satisfying qualifying.
Well, goodness me, if you had found those extra 2/10, and we did see the spin from yourself that cost you that lap, that would have been enough to put you on the second row of the grid and take P4. But still, from what ifs to reality, just take us through from your perspective the start of the race. I mean, you started in what was P5, you very quickly found yourself battling with James Parker, and come the exit of the first 2 corners, you're suddenly in P2 and you've got a clear road in front of you.
Yeah, I was a bit shocked, to be honest. I didn't get the best of start. It was okay. I saw Parker started to catch up, so I moved to the left to cover him. And then I saw there were contacts in front of me, just lifted, take it easy. And when the corners ended, I saw Sledgy in front of me, and I couldn't believe I was P2. So a bit of luck, I guess, and a bit unlucky for the rest. But they were good start, and then I could see if I had the pace to follow Sledgy. I did have some laps that I could catch up. Overall, I was starting to slide a lot and losing the tires, so I decided to calm the pace a bit down and save some fuel.
I see, and as you started to calm down and develop more momentum to the race, it looked as though for the most part you were in control of the race, but then at turns 1 and 2 it came to haunt you and saw you put the car to the barrier.
Yeah, I came out of the pits the lap before, Koopman did an early pit, I think. I didn't really understand why, but he was behind me and he did an early pit. So I didn't think of him. I was too busy with the race. But when I came out the pits, I saw Koopman's coming up from behind. We went side by side for almost the entire lap, I think. I got a bit too excited, a bit too unconcentrated. Did a mistake in the last turn. Tried to cover him off, and when we went into turn one, just about when I was to touch the brake, he had a small contact with my rear bumper, so I had to wait for the car to settle until I could go on the brakes, maybe 10-15 meters, but then it was too late. So by the time I could get the car settled and go on the brakes, I couldn't get the car stopped. So for me, I think it was a racing incident. I did quite heavily defend, and we're not in the same class, so no hard feelings. But it was a bit of a shame when we had that good fight the lap before that I ended up in the barrier and did that mistake. But it's close racing on this track that happens. Overall, I'm satisfied with the season and the race.
Oh, 100%. I'm sure many would agree. In fact, many have put in already in the YouTube and the Twitch chat with regards to the side-by-side battle between yourself and Emil, how fantastic it was to do a whole lap of Oran Park side-by-side. We could only dream of seeing you two bring it to life, and indeed you did. And it is sad the way it went a bit wrong in turns 1 and 2 on the next lap. But like you say, that's racing. And when you picked yourself back up after towing to the pits and getting back out on the circuit, you didn't give up and carried on. But then we had a very dramatic into the race on strategy where it seemed as though the whole silver class would be shuffled in positions. What was your take on that in terms of, were you originally planning the one stop?
No, I was changing when I followed Sledgy. I said, okay, I will continue to lose time to him, so I can just save some tires, save some fuel, and see if I can get it. I can do some pit stop in the end. Too bad it wasn't a couple laps longer, because I was a bit surprised when I saw the whole silver class coming out of the pit right in front of me, and Steve Hobbs, I think. I tried to get Hobbs on the last lap, but I couldn't get past. But yeah, I was a bit surprised when I saw the whole silver class exit. And it would have been good to have 3 or 4 laps more at that time.
Oh, indeed. But wasn't it quite to be? But what was to be, the fact that whilst you finished P7 in class and P12 overall, in the end, you'd already wrapped up the championship at Brands Hatch, and today really was to see if you could put the icing on the proverbial cake. You didn't need to. And being champion, I have to ask now, when you look back over the course of this season, what has been your highlight or the highlights that stand out the most to you?
I think maybe here and the fight with Emil. Credits to Emil as well. It takes 2 to tango, so he gave me space, I gave him space. So that was a really good fight. Nürburgring, always a really good track. Satisfied that I finished and had a decent pace there as well. I was up with the gold class until I pitted and unfortunately changed the tires. Yeah. Nürburgring and also Round Park was a good, even though I crashed, it was up until that point, it was a good race.
Oh, no doubt about it. And appreciate you sharing the highlights. And I have to ask, what's next for yourself in terms of, can we expect you on the grid in Season 10 to defend your silver title if you're not promoted to the gold class?
My plan is to return for the next season, yeah. Hopefully, I have improved iRacing as well, so maybe I can get into the gold class, try and aim higher. Won't probably be the first place, but could try and beat some of them at least, some of the gold drivers.
Oh, we'd definitely love to see that, and it's great to hear that you already have got it in your mind to return for Season 10, which is only around the corner in a month's time, but more on that a little bit later. But then coming to what is the sort of wider season as well, you talked about the fact getting familiar with this Porsche Cup car and gradually building your confidence in it. For those who are looking to race it now, what's been the one thing that perhaps has enabled you to crack or best understand the Porsche Cup car over this season?
Immediate feedback, I guess. That's maybe what I like about it. If you compare it to the GT3, it punishes you right away. You don't have ABS and traction. So it's a bit more direct in the feedback you get, and also I tend to like the racing a bit more. My impression is that it's a bit more a bit more or a bit better in the slipstream, so you can do a bit more racing, and also you can take a bit of a shunt unless you don't hit anything in the. Normally you can have some panel contact. The only thing you can't do is touch somebody on the rear bumper. So the racing tends to be good, and they can take a bit of a beating or a bit of panel contact if you are unlucky and have that. So it's a car that I think invites to good racing and good learning.
I'd 100% agree with you there, and I think many can draw inspiration from how you've learned the car over the season, how your performances have gone from high to new high, from round to round. But Max, just before we do let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out or a thank you to live on the broadcast tonight?
Thank you, Paul, for doing an amazing broadcast, and UKSR for arranging this league. And I give a thanks back to my team. They're doing the national championship in this car as well. So I get a lot of, although they're not always on the same track, but when they are on the same track, I get a lot of feedback and telemetry, and also I can see what they're discussing and what they're learning on this car. So they're a great support to me.
Well, it's great to hear you got the support of the wider RaceLab esports team, and the best of luck to them in the National Championships. But Matt, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you join me in the interview tonight, no doubt about it. And well, congratulations on your performance today, particularly that absolutely blaze-not pole lap. But more importantly, congratulations on being our Season 9 UKSimRacing Porsche Cup Silver Drivers Champion. Well deserved, indeed a title that's going to go down in the history books. And well, with that, we wish you the best of the rest of your evening. Savor the moment, enjoy it, and we look forward to plenty more from you in Season 10.
Thank you. You as well, Paul.
So hearing it there from Matt Strand, your Silver Drivers Champion, and well, what a championship campaign it has been, and giving us a variety of insights there with regards to not just his pole lap, which was absolutely flying, and also how he managed to build the car up to success, and talking about the fact he missed out on an even fast lap, which we saw him have the error with right at the end, which could have been 2 tenths faster and put him on the second row of the grid. But also talking about the race, enjoying the battle of Emil Koopmans, well, his highlight, as well as the win at the Nürburgring, and also talking about finding his form in the Porsche Cup car and the immediate feedback the car gives to the driver, and with that being able to really exert control over the car and enjoying the race as well. You can race closely and not be afraid to take a bump or a scrape with the car, and all going together to the 273 drives experience and growing confidence in the car from round to round, and that's why he has been your Silver Drivers Champion. And well, great to hear he's already planned to be back on the grid for Season 10, and well, whether he's defending his silver title or in the gold class and looking to fight with the gold drives, he's going to give it all, and he wants to go higher, and I get the feeling he's itching to fight in the gold championship. And what I do hope he's in it for the slip race, and I'm sure Matt will only go to new highs and be taking the fight to those overall and gold podiums. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to our second interview, and we're going to be hearing from none other than Paul Halliday, and well, the man who pulled off the surprise win today, no doubt about it, as he gets himself set and ready to be interviewed. And well, as he gets ready to join me in the interview room, we're going to be very shortly hearing his story of not just today but also the season. And as he does join me now, good evening to you, Paul. And well, firstly, I have to say congratulations on pulling off what has got to be, for me at least, the most mind-breaking win I've ever seen in a season finale with the strategy.
Imagine.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. I said, imagine my surprise halfway through the race when I realized this was possible. I was like, you know what? Like, I think it was, I know it's what, like 18-minute mark, I think it was, when everybody had pitted and whatnot. And I just come out the pits, and like, I had a disappointing start, as you probably saw. And then I thought to myself, I checked the fuel, and I was like, it looks like I'm about, neck and neck for the amount of laps left with the fuel I have. Maybe I was just a bit over, like under rather. So I thought, like, I'll try what happens for the next few laps, just to really like save fuel, see where we can end up, see whether we can do a pit skip. And yeah, I tried that, and it certainly worked. Like, to my surprise though as well, like when everybody pitted on that last lap, like even I thought, like, surely most people's gonna be doing a one-stop, right? But yeah, evidently not.
Oh, goodness me. It was a crazy way to end the race, but we've talked about the ending. We haven't even read the opening pages of the book of Oran part today.
True.
Let's talk a little bit about your qualifying session. P13 overall, and what was on the grid at P5 in class. It looked close out there. How did you find qualifying at Oran Park? It seemed quite slippery out on circuit.
It certainly was. I mean, like for the past like 3 or 4 weeks, maybe I really just come in on the day, like just now, like half an hour beforehand, and it started the session then. So I had really no time or any practice at all. So it's kind of just like, once again, dragging out the quality as much as I can, trying not to go back in the pits and reset often, and just try and get like a consistent time no matter what it is. And yeah, we got it. I wasn't necessarily like overjoyed, but I was like seeing that 106.6 ish, 106.7, whenever it was. And that was sort of like the benchmark that I decided, okay, that's what I'm aiming for. I don't really care about anything lower. Like, it'll be great, but the goal is like a 106.5, let's say, and we'll see what happens there. Because really, it's like hopefully trying to get that race pace correct, but then obviously we can discuss that a bit. But like the track itself is very sort of bumpy. It was very like, I was talking to my brother about this before we started, and it's like it is really dodgy. I'll use the word dodgy pretty much. Like, you've got to have that, like, you've got to have everything perfect, else it all isn't right at all. It's all a mess, you know what I mean? So it's you've got to just not overcook the tires, not get too much understeer, and yeah, that's harder than it sounds, I guess.
Well, indeed, it does sound troublesome just putting a good lap together Oran Park, and we saw so many drivers have difficulty in qualifying that, and then coming onto the race. An interesting start for yourself, particularly with the silver field very quickly finding itself scattered in amongst the gold drivers who found their way off at turns 1 and 2. And in amongst all that, it looked as though some early progress made, only to regress and then make more progress. It looked as though you're in a bit of a seesaw for the opening half of the race.
It certainly was. I mean, like, I think initially, I think that first corner, I think it was it where everyone went off? I think I went off with them, and then I just couldn't keep it on the track no matter what, like, or just spin out, or just find myself getting like come around a corner, and then I was just drifting away with it, like a flag in the wind. I was like, yeah, it just wasn't really getting the grip at all. But then, like, after those few mistakes, whatever it is, that cost me pretty much, I think, about 20 seconds. I noticed from where I was like, because I was like using my brother as a benchmark at that time. And I was like 20 seconds ahead of us, and I was like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. It's a long race. And yeah, so just trying, after those few mistakes, to try and keep it on track and maybe not push as hard, but instead go to, you know, fuel save and just try and keep the tires right. And then that, you know, maybe at least be consistent. And hey, if I don't lose another 20 seconds to spinning off, then it can't be much worse, can it? Do you know what I mean? So that was the vibe. And yeah, we got there in the end, but it certainly was difficult. I mean, I think I saw Steve Hobbs at like P7 quite early on, and I was like, okay, well, that's not good, given my current position in the championship. But we got there, and then that was what counts.
Oh, 100%. Like you say, it's the ending that counts. You could be behind all the way into that final checkered flag, but you've got to finish the race in order to take the result. And as we went into the second half, and that belief started to come through from yourself that the one stop seemed to be the strategy you'd picked and everyone else was on the two stop. I have to ask, as we head towards the closing stages, how did the car feel? Because on the one stop, of course, you're spending more time out on circuit, the tyres are taking greater amounts of wear, and also the car, you've got to manage a fuel load, which is looking critical.
Yeah, that was certainly one of the worries, especially like trying to fuel save whilst also, like, you know, maintaining a competitive position in case other people were on one stops, which, like I said, I have not really looked at any of the officials or anything, so like I don't even know how much fuel pullout we're really using. I haven't really done any sort of investigation. So it was like, for all I know, like I was on the same strategy as everybody else. So it was like I just wanted to, you know, maybe knock that last pit stop on the head and figure like, okay, well, everybody else is probably doing that. So yeah, it was just sort of try and maintain as much competitiveness as I can while not overly pushing it, and just sort of like looking lap by lap to see how much fuel I have left. And like by the end of the race, I think I had a 0.6 like laps left. So I still could have pushed a bit more, but I was trying to like sort of make it a bit more dynamic. So maybe like if I had too much fuel for the time left, I would push a bit more, etc., etc. So I think I did over save it. So, you know, with a bit more experience, I could have got it down to a little bit less of a margin, but we got there.
100%. And whilst it may not be an absolutely slim margin, still a well-managed margin at that. And come that checker flag, I have to ask, what was the feeling knowing that you'd secured a win, which you've had a couple wins this season, albeit perhaps not as many as you would like to, but a win that cemented your second place status in the Silvers Championship?
That was good fun. Like, I didn't believe it at first. I was like, is everybody disconnected? So it says I'm only like P4 because like, you know, like everyone's gone off the session. But then when I saw everybody pitting, I was like, well, that's a bit strange. Like maybe everybody is on a 2-stop and I'm on a 1-stop. So like it was a little bit of a confusion, but like, yeah, we lucked out. I'll say it. But yeah, we got there and it was good fun. Like I was happy to know that like it had worked out, the idea of doing the 1-stop. So I think like the whole time I wasn't certain whether this was going to work, and I'm just thinking to myself, well, surely there must be something wrong, like in my calculations. But like, so it turns out it wasn't. So that's good.
Did a good set of calculations, taking you to that victory and second place in the championship. And on reflection, when you look back at the bigger picture, 13 rounds of racing, and we've seen some great performances from yourself. The win at Sebring, for example, being a major result. Today, of course, being a great result as well. But are there any particular moments or results that will stand out in your mind for seasons to come?
I think like just the whole thing was so good because this is the first real, I'll call it, like racing that I've done in the Porsche. I've not done anything before this championship. So like it was beforehand, it was just like a little bit of Formula Ford and just sort of getting used to iRacing. So it's like to coming into this, it's sort of I'll use the word like it sort of allowed me to understand the like the landscape of like competitive racing in a certain way. Like there's a lot more that goes in it when you just queuing for an official. You're not really thinking about like, okay, we've got these like this is the stops we're doing. Like for example, there's different strategies of doing a 1-stop versus a 2. You know, you see that in F1, etc., etc. But like, you know, actually putting it into practice and doing the calculations of the amount of fuel or tires or whatever it is, it's a lot more to think about than just coming in and, you know, just doing a Formula Ford race for 10-15 minutes. So it's like the experience of the whole thing has been really fun, and it's something I'll definitely be up for again. I'm looking forward to rain, actually. Maybe we'll try some GT3, but the Porsche still is a very fun car.
Well, it's fantastic to hear that you've enjoyed the season, and particularly, like you say, having to plan things out and that competitive embodiment of the series as the season has gone on. And well, that brings me on to my next question, which you may have just alluded slightly to. Could we expect you back on the grid for season 10?
I think so, 100%. Like the Porsche Cup, it's a super fun car to race, so I'll be back.
That's absolutely brilliant here, and we'd love to see you back on the grid for the next season. More on that at the end of today's broadcast. But Paul, just before I do let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out or a thank you to live on the broadcast tonight?
Yeah, of course I'd like to thank yourself. You've done such a good job, man. Like you do a really good job of the commentating. I think like you know, watching it back every other week is a fun thing to do. My family as well that watch. You know, it's always good to have support. So when you do come like P1 today, you get like little text messages and whatnot saying like from my mom that's like, yeah, like well done. So it's like it's always good to know people are watching. The wife's watching as well, and of course my brother is now that he unfortunately got disconnected. So you know, it's good to have the support every week, even though it's just you know, we're not sitting there like winning, you know, championship money or anything, but it's certainly like it's a fun little activity that you know, brings people together over racing. So I think like for a lot of people, I imagine the whole experience is really good. So thanks to everybody that supported me over this season.
It's fantastic to hear how the racing has brought yourself and your wider family all together in the common aim of what is cheering you on from day one all the way through to the season finale, Paul. And well, we've absolutely loved to have you on the grid. But with that, congratulations once again on the win tonight, taking the Silver Class winner P4 overall, your best overall result of the season, and also on being our runner-up in the Silver Drivers' Championship. We look forward to seeing if you can go one step further in Season 10 and become Silver Drivers' Champion. But until then, savour the moment, enjoy it, and we'll catch you again sometime soon.
Great, thanks a lot, Paul, and congrats to Matt as well on P1.
All the best. So hearing it there from Paul Halliday, and well, the surprise in his voice, it's palpable as it is for us with regards to his win today. And despite things going wrong in the early stage of the racing, pointing out the belief as he saw more and more drivers in the end at the midway point of the race looking to be committed to the two-stop. And well, for Paul Halliday, it's been the perfect end to a season which has seen him go from strength to strength, albeit there's been moments where things have not necessarily worked out, and there have been a couple of rounds, such as, for example, was the heat and feature combination at Spa-Francorchamps in round 4 and 5, where it didn't quite work out the way he wanted it to. But the one thing that's been noticeable with Paul from round to round is the fact that he's been gradually getting stronger and stronger and acclimatising himself more and more to the spirit of the league racing here in the UKSimRacing Porsche Cup. And that summarizes one of the fact that this is the first league he has fully committed to, in terms of the fact more of his experience has been in the officials and iRacing, but here really enjoying the atmosphere and to work out the strategy, work out the optimum means of proceeding with each and every race. And well, today he demonstrated to everyone in the silver class what the optimum strategy was, a one-stop, and that's what led to his victory. Our runner-up in the silver championship, and he'll be back for more in the next season, looking to go for the ultimate glory of what would be the championship title of the silver class, and we look forward to plenty of that. And it's so great to hear all the family behind him, and to all the Halliday family and the wider network tuning in right now. We're more than happy to have you tuning in, and I hope you've enjoyed today's broadcast as we have had enjoyment out of you guys tuning in week after week and cheering on both Paul and Owen. But as I stumble over my words there, goodness me, I'm still speechless from what happened earlier on in the race, no doubt about it, ladies and gentlemen. That nicely brings us on to our third interview, and that will be none other than Charles Boschel, who joins me in the interview now. Good evening to you, Charles, and it's great to have you here representing Olympus Esports. And well, as team principal, I first have to say to you, congratulations to yourself and the team for what is a third teams championship in a row. If you do include the collaboration between Olympus Esports and GDC last season, it must feel special to you guys. And I do believe...
Sorry. Yep. There we go. Sorry about that. So talking into a muted mic. You think I would know better by now. So yeah, thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're very happy. Just goes to show the level of commitment these guys put into their racing week in and week out. And just absolutely thrilled that we could get another team's championship. Love to see Dan get the win today as well. Just very, very close to getting that, to getting up to that top step of the championship, but a nice P2 overall, it looks like. So I'm sure he'll be very happy about that as well.
Well, no doubt about it. And I mean, today has been a roller coaster ride on so many levels, even more so for yourself and the team. And talking about Dan's race, putting it on pole, it's something we've not seen too often this season. And in qualifying, it looked as though he was possessed to take pole position and give himself every possible chance today. I have to ask, in the build-up to this round, what's it been like with Dan in terms of the practice going in? I mean, we've normally seen him and be a little bit behind Thomas, i.e. Thomas Cope, between the two of them. But with Thomas not able to make this round, it's really awful on Dan's shoulders to bring things home.
Yeah, for sure. And Dan will be the first one to tell you he's not the greatest in qualifying. But obviously today, he put in a lot of effort to prepare for this. And, you know, to be fair, this is probably a track that really suits his driving style. Short, tight track. With lots of twists and turns where he can really just kind of work the car, probably more so than even Thomas. Thomas obviously is a fantastic driver, but this track just seems like it suits Dan, and obviously had a really, really great qualifying run to put it up on pole, and obviously that could have made a much bigger difference than the end result, let's own, based on what happened on lap one.
Oh, 100%. And that nicely it brings us on a segue to the open lap. I mean, from your perspective, team principal, watching and spectating, you must have had your heart in your mouth seeing how it all played out for the opening couple of quarters, and that Dan was completely untouched and just allowed to run his race.
Well, there's a few words that I can't repeat here during the broadcast that I'm sure I said as that all happened. But yeah, it was, like I said, 0.02 of a second was a difference between Dan getting away clean and then him being the one caught up in that incident. So just that's the way racing goes. Sometimes it's sometimes you're the, to use an old NASCAR, term from their broadcast. Sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug. And I think that today Dan just got away clean and was able to get that good lead and extend, and was able to fuel save, make it a one stop race. And that was enough to secure the victory, and then drove clean. Obviously, that was as much of as anything.
Oh, no doubt about it. And well, on that one stop, is that something that the team have been working on all week? Because we saw in the end only what was 3 drivers able to make the one stop work. The other being Philipp Hammer in the gold class, and of course Paul Halliday in the silver class, who we just spoke to.
No, and that's another one of Dan's strong suits. Is he's really good at fuel management. He works with his. He uses some software that helps him out, and but on his own, he's just really good at being able to fuel save during a lap and not lose time. So that's another reason that this track really kind of worked to his benefit.
I see. And was the race wound on and we went towards the closing stages? Of course, Dan leading up front, but then the inevitable fact of this series is that if Philipp Hammer's on the grid and he's down the order, he's going to find his way up through the order gradually for Impulse Racing. I have to ask, was it becoming more and more of a reality in the mind that it would be the Impulse Racing driver who would be taking the crown as we went to the closing laps?
I mean, if you've watched any of the racing this season, Philip is just absolutely a fantastic driver. If he's not up front, he will be soon. It's just the way he is. He's just an amazingly good, one of the best pickup drivers I've ever seen. And so, yeah, it's just a matter of time. He doesn't make many mistakes, and when they are, they're small. And they're recoverable, and so you knew that he was going to do everything he could to get back up into that position he needed to be in to win. And obviously, he didn't have to win the race; he just had to finish top 3. But sometimes a racer comes out in you, and so he said, "I'm going to finish second in this race, and if I can get to Dan, I'm going to finish first. I'm going to pass him." And just lucky enough that Dan had a big enough lead, he wasn't able to catch all the way up.
No doubt about it, like you say. And with Dan taking the checker flag on what was the 41st and final lap of this season at Oran Park, I mean, a great bookend to the season for Dan. Firstly, in the fact P2, the highest finish he's had in the UKSimRacing Porsche Cup since Olympus Esports joined 3 seasons ago. I mean, he must be absolutely proud of himself for the simple reason, whilst he may not be champion, he's come extremely close this season.
Yeah, I'm sure. And to be fair, he really just started driving the Porsche Cup car, a lot right before he started running this league. He just is one of these that Dan is one of those guys. He will be the first to tell you if you give him his choice, it's probably going to be a prototype. But he and Thomas was out just goofing off one day, and so they threw up a Porsche Cup session at Nürburgring. And then 2 or 3 laps in, Dan's just a little bit behind him. But then he says, "Oh wow, this is fun," and then the next thing you know, he's running these Porsche Cup leagues and is doing really well. It's a testament to Dan's ability and how good he is inside of a race car. And it doesn't matter if it's a Porsche Cup car or if it's a prototype or if it's a GT. It doesn't matter to him. He's a really, really good driver. He just kind of gets it. Seems like it's a natural thing to him, and he does a really good job anytime he's out on the track.
Well, we've talked a lot about Dan, but of course it's been a 2-man team on the driving front at Olympus Esports this season. And let's talk a little bit about Thomas as well. He may not have been here today, but 3rd place in the championship. And he as well has been side by side with Dan all the way through. They've even had some scraps out on circuit, but they've kept it clean. A 2-3 for the team this season, but both drivers contributing equally to that team's championship.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We wouldn't be where we are today without Thomas. He's kind of the linchpin of the team. He's really, when we first decided to put Olympus Esports together, it was with him in mind because he just became such a fantastic driver. Another rapid ascent through the iRating system. And it goes to the fact that Thomas and probably not well known, but is a former semi-professional hockey player. So the hand-eye coordination, the footwork, all those athletic skills come into play in sim racing, where not necessarily appear to, but it does. It's just like that's why you see F1 drivers doing those little things with the with tennis balls and little blinking lights, because those all those little skills pay off when you're driving either a real race car or a sim race car. So, you know, Olympus wouldn't be where it is without Thomas. We, you know, obviously I love him to death. It, obviously you know, if he had his druthers, I'm sure he would be here as opposed to being at work, but, but sometimes work is more important. So, so we'll look to see if we can get some, maybe get some new blood in here. Maybe Thomas wants to take a bit of a break. We may see what some of our younger Porsche Cup drivers can do, and we may throw them at the field.
We would definitely love to see that. I mean, we couldn't have Porsche Cup now without Olympus Esports on the grid, given the fact ever since yourself and the team have arrived, Charles, it's been absolutely magnetised in terms of seeing the team go all in, week out, and of course those fantastic liveries. And that brings me on nicely to my question. So what's next for Olympus Esports? Of course, we've got Season 10 of the Porsche Cup. We'd love to see you guys back. But what else is also on the radar for the team at the moment?
Well, you know, we obviously will, the Porsche Cup program continues to grow. We just added a new driver this past week who's coming over from Raceway Esports, the Portuguese team. And so we'll be getting him involved in some of our events. Obviously, all the iRacing special events. I'm sure our Porsche Cup guys, because, you know, their I guess iRacing schedule's limited a bit, that we'll be starting to focus a little bit on Nürburgring. We still have our 24X series team with TC and Dan. We've got a race this weekend, 6 hours of Monza, so that's going to be fun. TC and Dan are also in the Carrera Cup GB, along with amateur driver and professional race car driver Scott Mokes. So we'll be you know, focused on that as well. And, you know, it's the Porsche Cup guys. It's a little more league dependent. So we'll see if we can't get a few more guys in here that want to contribute their time and talent to our team here at UKSR, and we'll see if we can put maybe we will have a silver driver come in here and compete next season.
Definitely plenty for us to look forward to here on the UK Sim Racing front, and also on the wider Sim Racing series front. And Charles, just before I do let you go, is there anybody you would like to give a shout out or a thank you to live on the broadcast tonight?
Oh, Whoosh, absolutely. Obviously, Thomas and Dan, fantastic job this year. The rest of the Olympus Esports team, all the drivers really do a good job of supporting each other. It's always fun to see them get in there, and sometimes it's a little off the wall, but a lot of times it's serious, and they'll get in there and work with each other and learn from each other and just make each other better. And it's, you know, I don't call them a team, I call them my second dysfunctional family, because they're all just, it's really a great place to, you know, we've got real high morale. Got to thank our sponsor, HSR Autos. If you're looking for a mechanic and you happen to be in Aberdeen, Scotland, go by and see Mark. But, you know, he's one of our guys and he's raced with us a lot. So, you know, we're very happy to have some financial support from him, and as well as our affiliates, Grip Engineering, who just does a fantastic job helping us build our racing sets, and IMB Racewear, who makes our gear. We got a nice big shipment coming in this week, so we got more drivers that are going to have some nice jerseys to wear, and some new gloves and boots, and so we're looking forward to that as well.
Well, Charles, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you join me in the interview room, as it always is. Congratulations once again to yourself and the Olympus Esports team for becoming our 3-time Teams Champions. An absolutely phenomenal record, and well, we look forward to seeing whether you guys can maintain it going into Season 10 when that does arrive in a month's time. But until then as well, congratulations to the performances of both Daniel Sedgley on circuit today and in the wider championship for his runner-up finish in the Gold Championship, and for Thomas Coates finishing P3 in the Gold Drivers' Championship. We look forward to plenty more from Olympus Esports in the future, but until then, thank you and have a fantastic rest of your evening.
All right, thanks, Paul. And hey, and also thank you for the fantastic job you do on the broadcast, and to UKSR Everything I've heard has been nothing but positive. Everything all the interactions have been just fantastic with the entire UKSR staff. And so it's always great to be here and participating in your events.
Likewise, Charles, it's a pleasure. So hearing that there from Charles Boschel, the Olympus Esports team principal and representing the team in taking their 3rd team's championship title. And well, what a season it has been for the team. Indeed, a 2-pronged attack from Daniel Sedgley, who we see on screen here, and Thomas Cope, who wasn't able to make it today due to needing to be at work, but at the same time as well, putting in all the hard work in the 12 rounds beforehand. And the team taking that crown and battling with each other, but keeping it fair and firm on the road, as well as battling with Impulse Racing. And well, they've gone the distance, there's no doubt about it. And perhaps a little bit of downer that Daniel Sedgley could not quite take the Drivers' Championship crown and take his 1st gold title as this round, when it was all looking so strong. But as Charles was saying, the inevitability with Philipp Hammer is the fact that the Impulse Racing driver is going to come through the field when the odds are against him. And that's exactly what happened today, but it doesn't take anything away from absolutely pinpoint precise and calculated race from Daniel Sedgley. And we're going on to take the win here, and his closest ever finish to the top with that 2nd place finish in the championship. Could we see him take it in Season 10? Should he be on the grid? And who will we see from Olympus Esports on the grid to support him in Season 10? All that and more we'll definitely look forward to seeing in the weeks ahead, I'm sure. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to our final interview. That's right, we do have a fourth interviewee on hand today, and it is going to be none other than the quick interview of our gold drivers champion Philipp Hammer, who has been patiently waiting for some time. And well, as he gets ready to join me in the interview room, we're going to be hearing his story and perspective on a 4th title. Well, Philipp, welcome to it. I appreciate you're quite limited for time. So firstly, most importantly, how does it feel to become a 4-time gold drivers champion in the UKSimRacing Porsche Cup?
Yeah, hi Paul. Yeah, feels great. Didn't look like it after the first corner.
Oh, goodness me, it didn't. But before we got to the first corner, let's just talk a little bit about what was the race, the qualifying lap. Taking P2 in the end, only separated by 200ths versus Daniel Sedgley. I mean, it couldn't have been closer between the two of you. But how was it for you in qualifying?
Yeah, qualifying was okay. It was a bit difficult to do a few clean laps in a row on this short track. But in the end, I was very happy with my time. My goal was to set a 104, and yeah, I managed it. But also a great time from Daniel.
Oh, indeed, both of you set in 104s, and in the end, by a hair's width, you missed out on pole. And well, many have said that the difference between pole and second was seeing you in the gravel at turn number 2. And from your perspective, that open lap instant, I mean, it made what should have been a straightforward day into a bit of a nightmare day.
Yeah, I didn't really know what was happening. Suddenly there was a hit on my rear axle and I was in the dirt. Yeah, not the best start.
No, it may not have been the best start, but what we then got to see was one of your classic run and charges through the field, and it looked as though at first you're struggling a little bit for pace. I have to ask, did the damage you pick up change the behaviour of the car significantly?
Yeah, I had some damage on the rear. It felt quite slippery on the rear. So, yeah, something was off, definitely. But yeah, I need to. Yeah, giving up was not an option.
Oh, indeed. And we've never seen you give up, I can tell you that. And as the racing went on, you started to pick the place off one by one. But strategy also a huge part of today, and you were one of only 3 drivers to do the one stop. Was that always the plan, or was that something you improvised?
Yeah, it was a bit a plan, but after that crash in the beginning, yeah, it was my last hope. Yeah, then my only strategy was to save fuel, save a pit stop. So I always had an eye on the fuel consumption.
Well, to be saving that much fuel, but also putting in at the fastest pace in the race is absolutely incredible. And after the one stop, we saw you gradually make your way into P2. and in the closing stages, taking half a second a lap out of Daniel as a minimum, and finishing the race only a couple attempts behind. I mean, how would you balance that in terms of the fuel tank and the pace? It's just on a different level.
Yeah, it was difficult to find a good balance between saving fuel, setting fast lap times, yeah, and getting through traffic safely. That was also sometimes a bit sketchy, but yeah, it worked quite well.
I mean, it definitely did. Being the only driver as well to set a 104.9 under race conditions and setting the fastest lap in the closing stage. I mean, you got a 104 in both qualifying and the race. That must have brought a smile to your face as well.
Yeah, but I would have loved to do a few more laps. Daniel was so close.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, but Daniel was so close in the end. I would have loved to do maybe 2-3 more laps for a battle. But yeah, I'm happy with P2 after the start.
Oh, no doubt about it. And we would have loved to have seen a lap or two more to see if you could come back to take the win. But still, 41 laps was what we got, and that's where we ended the race. But still, a second place was more than enough to take the crown. All you needed was third place in the gold class today. And as you came out the final corner to take that checker flag, how did it feel to know you've entered the history books now as not just a 3-time champion, but also a 4-time champion?
Yeah, feels absolutely great. But you will see definitely a different winner next season, because I will take a break from P Cup next season.
Goodness me, well that is going to be something that's going to raise an eyebrow of many, but I completely understand as well. But what are your plans for future seasons then?
Oh, I'm going to have a baby in a few weeks' time, so I will not have too much time for racing. So it will be a bit of a easy season with a few fun races, but nothing too serious.
Well, firstly, allow me to say on the behalf of everyone at UKSimRacing, congratulations on the upcoming new addition to your family. That's absolutely a great news, Philipp, and we can completely understand why you'll be taking a break, and we'll hope all goes well there. And just before we do let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out or a thank you to live on the broadcast tonight?
Yeah, thanks to all the drivers, to the whole UKSimRacing admins, people, and yeah, to you, Paul, for all the great broadcasts. It was an honor.
Truly, Philipp, the honour is all mine to have you on the grid and become our 4-time champion. You have put down the hardest and highest marker that we have seen in the UKSimRacing Porsche Cup. And, well, if we don't see you on the grid for a few seasons, what with the new arrival in the family, you have set a bar which I think many will be eager to beat, but it is a high bar to jump over. But with that, we're going to leave you to it. Congratulations once again on your recovery drive to P2 today and becoming our 4-time Gold Drivers Champion. Wish all the best for you and the new baby in your life in the coming weeks, and we look forward to crossing paths with you again at some point in the future.
Thanks, Paul. Good night.
So hearing it there from Philipp Hammer for Impulse Racing, and well, what a season it has been for him. And that little bit of news right at the end there, well, it is a sweet end to what has definitely been an era from the Impulse Racing driver. Having joined the grid back in what was, if my memory serves me correctly, season 6, and will straight away making an impact and taking the Drivers' Championship at the end of that season. What was only our second season, if I do remember correctly, of the Gold class being there, and well, since then has not looked back. And well, with what is 4 titles to his name, indeed we have had multiple Gold class champions, including James Parker and Thomas Cope, all with what is at least 1 if not 2. But for Philipp Hammer, 4 is the score on the door now, and well, taking a break, given the new little arrival in his family in the near future. But talking about today, that P2 lap, very pleased to settle 104.9. That was his target, but not quite able to pip Daniel Sedgley to the post, and we'll congratulating Daniel Sedgley on that phenomenal pole lap. And indeed, either one of them taking pole would have been incredible, but Sedgley getting the upper hand. And will that be the difference with an instant into the opening pair of corners, with Hammer being turned around and beginning the recovery drive, and despite the car feeling quite loose as a result of the damage on the rear end, still able to get his head down and get on with the job. And we're having to balance the art of saving fuel, pushing hard, and managing the car for it all, and somehow get it to a P2 finish, and just hoping there are a couple more laps left to take the win off of Daniel Sedgley. But still, that's the way it went, and he knew he didn't need to win today, but still, that's the inner racer spirit for you in the form of Philipp Hammer. And well, whatever comes to him next, we wish him all the best, as he certainly has become a member of the Hall of Fame in the UKSimRacing Porsche Cup, if he wasn't already. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes all of our post-round interviews. And well, you heard from 4 individuals in the end. We started off with Matt Strand, your Silver Drivers Champion from Racing Lab Esports. We then heard from Paul Halliday, your Silver Drivers runner-up for the Knoll Pointers. And then we heard from Charles Boschel, the team principal at Olympus Esports, talking about the team on the behalf of them being teams champions this season, taking their 3rd team's championship crown. And then we just heard from Philipp Hammer, the gold class driver for Impulse Racing, the gold Drivers Champion, taking what is his 4th title. And well, congratulations to all 4 of our interviewees with regards to their respective achievements this season, and thank you to them all for joining me in the interview room. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, it does sadly mean it is now time for us to bring the curtain down at long last and wrap up. So thank you very much for watching, and if you have enjoyed today's show, if you've been sat there thinking that you want to know more about the UK sim racing community, beyond our quick reminder to you to vote for your driver of the day, with votes closing as of this coming midnight Sunday the 3rd of March, that's in Greenwich Mean Time or Universal Coordinate Time. Well, to find out more about the UK sim racing community, we recommend you do check out our website. You saw it earlier on in today's broadcast, and that being at uksimracing.co.uk, where you can find out all the latest information and details with regards to how to join the official UK sim racing Discord, our affiliates, and also our ongoing and upcoming leagues and series and one-off events. But if you don't want to go to our website, perhaps you're more of a social media person, and well, who can blame you in this modern day? We do have what is our outlook on the Twitter platform, and that's at twitter.com/UKSimRacing_. And well, there you'll find out the abridged announcements regarding our upcoming and ongoing series, our broadcasts, and plenty more. And well, there's never been a better time to follow the UK Sim Racing Twitter. One of the factors our leagues continue to go from strength to strength in 2024, and also you can stay in touch for the latest trials and tribulations of the official UK Sim Racing esports teams. We'd also like to take this moment to say a big thank you to our affiliates, who do include what is Swilly Amida Sim Racing Coaching, and well, the creator of the Motor Racing Checklist, Swilly Amida Sim Racing Coaching can help take your sim racing driving to the next level. Whether you're looking to gain the 10th, improve your approach to the racing line, or develop your consistency, Swilly Amida has a coaching course to meet your needs. Plus, with Swilly being a multi-time champion of the official iRacing series, which do include the 2021 PESCC, you know you're receiving coaching from the very best in the industry. We also have Race Anywhere, the provider of curated sim racing equipment, aimed to only stock products that represent excellent value for the sim racing community. Demon Tweaks, the provider of the most complete and innovative motorsport product range available worldwide, so no matter what your level of discipline, Demon Tweaks can help drive you to realise your motorsport ambitions. SimLab, lead manufacturer of high-quality sim racing-related hardware, as a proud partner of Mercedes-AMG Petronas Esports, SimLab aims to enhance virtual racing experiences with uncompromising solutions that push the boundaries of esports and make SimLab the go-to brand for quality sim racing rigs. We also have Amazon, the company striving to be the Earth's most customer-centric company, the Earth's best employer, and the Earth's safest place to work through the provision of concepts pioneered by Amazon, which do include one-click shopping, Amazon Web Services, and Amazon Alexa. And lastly, we have SRC Driver Academy. Elevate your sim racing skills with SRC Driver Academy. Their team of experienced professionals is dedicated to helping you reach your full potential without compromising on quality. But why choose SRC? To put it simply, affordable quality coaching. They have experienced coaches who provide valuable insights and a competitive edge, making high quality coaching accessible to all and affordable costs tailored to your needs and goals. You'll learn race strategies, precision driving, and much more. And they offer virtual coaching sessions at all hours of the day, every day, ensuring flexibility for all. So join SRC Driver Academy today and unlock your true sim racing potential. Do visit a website to learn more and accelerate your sim racing career. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we bring a pause to the racing on the Porsche Cup Series, and indeed the Porsche 992s go back in the garages and they go up for the restoration work and whatnot. whatnot. But don't be alarmed, because we will be returning for the 10th season and a special anniversary of the UKSimRacing Porsche Cup, and it all gets underway with Media Day on Thursday the 21st of March 2024. It won't be broadcasted live, but that's the day if you want to be on the grid and be part of the official photography with your livery in preparation for the first rounds of the season, which get underway on Thursday the 28th of March. Well, sign-ups will be available on the UKSimRacing Discord in the next couple of weeks, so therefore do get yourself signed up and be ready to get on the grid for the media day on Thursday the 21st of March and the racing which gets underway the week after. And we're in the 10th season, you can be sure there's plenty of surprises to be in store and plenty of great racing to be had as we celebrate what has become a staple of the UKSimRacing series catalogue, and we'd love to see you on the grid. And while we already know a good number of existing drivers will be back on the grid, including what will be Matt Strand and Paul Halliday, and I'm sure plenty more will be there, and we'd love to see some new faces, including you guys and girls tuning in if you're up for it. And indeed, it's for all skill levels to take part. But save the date, ladies and gents, because Season 10 is around the corner, and it will be brought to you live from Circuit Side by none other than myself. I have the honour of once again presenting at the 10th season, and I look forward to it. I'm very grateful to UKSimRacing for giving me the continued opportunity to bring you what is one of the finest series on the iRacing simulator platform to life on the big screen. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we've been UKSimRacing. I've been your host and commentator, Paul Walsh, also known as TX141 or Britain of Speed. And as we bring the curtain down, congratulations to our gold drivers champion of Philipp Hammer, to our silver drivers champion of Matt Strand, and to our team's champions of Olympus Esports, as led by Daniel Sedgley and Thomas Cope. Well done to them all. They set the bar for Season 10. And until then, remember to stay safe, stay well, stay smiling, but most importantly, remember to stay on track. Good night.